O-M to the G. We are back with the Guerrilla Collective 3-Point Fizzive. If you were here for Black Voice in Gaming or Guerrilla Collective 3, thanks for tuning in, supporting the devs and the squad, and welcome back. I'm your host, Justin Woodward, co-founder of The Mix, the Media Indie Exchange, and I am with my good and friend and partner from Wilmer Sound, who hasn't been around, Alex Wilmer.
Yes, it is great to be with you, my good and friend, Justin.
Give me the high fives. We're going to be making some magic pop off and happen. A bit of history about the Guerrilla Collective. This is the third year of the Guerrilla Collective, and it was organized by The Mix and other publishing partners and friends during the mask flopping, booster shot stabbing shutdown of 2020 to support the game development culture from the vultures and put something together since we can no longer give each other hugs at events. Oh my God. I love the love. You know what I mean? We are developers and enthusiasts supporting other folks in this space and are honored to be here again. Before we get started, we have to give a huge shout out to our illustrious sponsors, PlayStation, Razer, Astro Gaming, Tencent, as well as our fellow devs and publishers. You see them up here. They're here. All their glory. Amazing. Also, salute to the developers who participated in the showcase. They have all contributed their time, blood, sweat, and tears, and resources to make this thing possible. We are just messengers showcasing awesome content. So shout out to our broadcasting partners who are helping us with this content and supporting the showcase. Twitch, Steam, IGN, and of course GameSpot. You guys are amazing.
Yes, and the love continues, so be sure to check out the Guerrilla Collective event page on Steam, where you can learn more about the games, buy the games that are available now, and add the games that are not available to your wish lists. That's really important. That helps out the developers. So
definitely add those games to the wish lists and buy them on all the platforms possible. Switch, Steam.
Make sure to get them on every platform.
Yeah, all of them. You know
that would really help out the developers. That'd be very friendly.
We are coming at you with a barrage of dope indie titles first, starting with some interesting GC picks, and we'll end our showcase with a glimpse of some titles coming from Japan with a spotlight from our friends at Bit Summit.
Yes.
Let's go. Blind.
Hi, I'm Marco.
And I'm Roman.
At Iron Lance, we are big fans of cyberpunk fiction and games, but we have our own ideas of what a cyberpunk world can be. We're making a bright, vibrant world where you live your cyberpunk slice of life. Run your business, meet new people, make friends and enemies. This is a game in which you manage your restaurant, bar or nightclub, take care of your staff, make deals, farm, and experience the stories of the people you meet.
Or maybe you just want to take the day off and go fishing at the docks instead. Nivalis primarily uses voxel art for the environments. We spend lots of time creating a unique atmosphere with high levels of detail and dynamic elements. But although we're filling the world with interesting things to see and do, we're even more excited by your creativity. You'll customize your apartment, your restaurants, bars and nightclubs, and make choices that will change the lives of the people around you.
There's something very emotional about a cyberpunk setting, with its dystopian but yet very colorful and inviting world.
I think the most engaging thing to me personally about Nivalis is that it's a world that never stops or sleeps. There is always something happening around you. The world is filled with dozens of details that make it feel alive and real.
We can't wait to see the choices you'll make and how you'll choose to live your life when you come visit us in Nivalis.
Hey boss, time to wake up. We got customers waiting. What do you mean you don't know where to start? Let's clean this place up, move some chairs and tables around. We can make this place shine again. If the weather gets bad, we can grow some veg in the greenhouse. Once we start making real money, well, then you can rent that fancy new apartment in Midtown. So make friends, make enemies. If customers are rude, just turn on the old charm. Or water down their drinks. I'm not your conscience. This is a world to explore, to make stories. Your stories. You ever look up at the clouds and wonder what's up there? Well, if you dream big enough, maybe you'll find out. Maybe we all will. Welcome to Nivalis.
We are very happy to share with you our upcoming adventure game, Lost in Play. We wanted to create a game that will recapture the spirit of play from our childhood and look and feel like you are playing a cartoon. Lost in Play is a feel-good adventure. Play as Toto and Gal to explore dreamscapes and befriend magical creatures. On this journey, they tackle difficult situations that only together they can get out of, using their wits and courage. We created over 30 different unique and challenging minigames. We wanted to create an evolution of the classic point-and-click adventure games we used to play when we were kids, by making the gameplay much more fluid and natural for modern-day consoles. Making the game feel at home both with the gamepad as well as with a mouse. Having young kids of our own, we aim to create a game you can play with your entire family, where adults and children can enjoy playing together.
Alon Silon, Fluri Oimak. Fluri Oimak. Fluri Oichak.
We chose to have all the dialogues in gibberish in order to concentrate on visual storytelling. And because it's fun. Allow yourself to get lost in your imagination. Allow yourself to get lost in play. Lost in Play will be available for Nintendo Switch and PC this summer.
Welcome to the internet world of Glitchbusters. The world of Glitchbusters is currently under attack by mysterious viruses known as glitches. Together with your friends, you will play Glitchbusters in a 4-player, co-op, third-person shooter action game. Your goal is to defeat viruses and glitches, including trolls, like you can see here, on your way to discover the secret behind the virus outbreak and the glitches themselves. During your adventures, sometimes you'll run into certain objects that are out of your reach. In cases like these, you'll want to take advantage of the magnetic co-op system that defines Glitchbusters. You can stack on top of your allies and reach high locations. By stacking on top of each other here, we can find the switch that allows us to move forward. As you move through Glitchbusters, you'll need to think about creative ways to defeat large groups of villains at once. Take advantage of your surroundings. Work together for the best results. Use the magnetic qual system to climb on top of walls, pipes, as well as to climb on top of your allies. Once you reach a high location, not only can you shoot the enemy, you can also drop down on them in order to destroy them. Here, we see the UFO elevator. Use this to reach high locations to find the path forward. Sometimes, even when you intend to cooperate together, you can get into each other's way. You'll also find other AI as you move through the world of Glitchbusters. You'll have other game modes, including this side-scrolling mode here. You'll need to be careful that your allies aren't trying to keep you from collecting the most likes, while being sure to dodge obstacles as they come towards you. As you run into other Creetubers, listen to what they have to say. They may give you important hints to help you discover exactly what is occurring in the city and elsewhere, causing this viral outbreak. Most of the living creatures within the world of Glitchbusters are based on emoji. You as the player will also have the opportunity to customize your character with different emoji faces. Our main goal is to have a game that has players talking amongst themselves and bringing back the feeling of couch co-op that defined many of our childhoods. As a member of the rescue squad, one of your jobs is to collect as many likes as you can. The player who collects the most likes will have the best chance at becoming the MVP at the end of the level. Of course, if you want to keep all the likes to yourself, you can also play this game entirely solo or with only 2 or 3 people. Glitchbusters will feature 4-player split screen and local multiplayer as well, so you don't necessarily have to be on the internet to play. Sometimes you'll need to use these special USB keys in order to proceed through the level. Glitchbusters may be a cooperative action game, but every once in a while, it may be in your best interest, or you may simply just be in the mood to throw your allies under the bus. Once you've freed up Cloudy, the manager of the servers here, that will be the end of the stage, and you'll be able to proceed to the next one. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to pick up Glitchbusters later on this year.
Try that again.
Nivalis is oozing with that cyberpunk style.
It looks so clean, the lighting, and the 3D graphs, dope. The block is looking real fresh and crispy too. We're gonna take a little bit of an intermission because we have an announcement to make. The team at The Mix is celebrating our 10th year anniversary, and it has been quite a ride. Putting together showcase broadcasts like this one and in-person events all over the world has been incredible. When I helped to start The Mix, I was a budding developer and entrepreneur, grinding alongside my indie friends, looking to get our teams just a little bit of shine and recognition. Our mission from day one was to blow up amazing indie titles and have the talented folks behind them get some love. We have had the honor of working with some of the best teams, publishers, and partners in the business and are proud to keep that tradition going and flowing through our evolving vision. With this in mind, we are proud to announce The Mix Games, where we will be further partnering with developers and our publishing friends to develop, publish, and create inclusive opportunities for developers to grow. We will rock this out by delivering full multi-platform experiences through development, financial support, manufacturing, distribution, and marketing help. This is an exciting opportunity we will be teasing now, and we'll have more info later. Let's get back to the show.
Up next, our second stack of games, where we'll be sharing an up-and-coming title from the Humble Games family, and get foxy with an update from a slick animal-based adventure on its release horizon.
Let's roll.
In Lords of Ravage, combat is at the heart of the game. You'll have to face powerful champions from different rounds. Don't expect to defeat them in a single fight. There are a lot of ways to approach the combat. You can try to create a carry for your squad, sacrificing other units to do so. You can focus on damage over time. You can use global abilities called edicts. You can weaken enemies and send your powerful leader to finish them. Or you could come up with more creative combinations, utilizing the mechanics of individual skills. Each of your units has its role, be it support, tank, or damage dealer. But the way in which it fulfills its role is also important. Different tanks, for example, can control damage in different ways. Some can reduce the damage an enemy does, while others can resurrect during battle, making any health bonus more potent. You can make any combination that fits your playstyle, and become one of the Lords of Ravage.
I'm Eli, the developer of Wanderlost, and today we're going to be taking a quick look at some gameplay. Wanderlust is a survival RPG set in an unusually cheerful post-apocalypse. So you can see here I'm putting the final touches on my base. I'm using a stone floor because wood can actually catch on fire, and if I want to place a fire pit down so that I can cook inside my base, stone is going to keep me pretty safe. I'm going to place a window here as well so that I can keep an eye on any zombies going by, especially once I get a roof put in. That'll keep me a little bit safer. Roofs are what keep the weather off your back, so that can be important. My hunger meter's not doing that great, and I don't have much food stored, so I am going to go and place a couple traps down. There are a lot of different ways to get food in Wanderlust. Placing small traps to catch game like rabbits and squirrels can be really effective if you have the time to wait for them. Another really good way to get food is to go fishing. If you've got the supplies, and I do have the supplies, I actually keep a separate bag containing my fishing supplies, which you saw me switch there. I can just toss a new backpack on in order to switch between different loadouts. So now I've got my fishing backpack on, and you can see those bubbles are where any fish are. That was actually a big part of why I built this base where I did, because it had easy access to a good fishing location nearby. Casting into the deep water because that's where the larger fish are found. Took me a couple casts, but I did get a good spot with the fish, and we have caught a mackerel. So now that I have the fish, I do need to cook it. I also need to debone the fish. So cooking and fire making in Wanderlust is important for a variety of reasons. Fires are going to keep you warm. Weather is a significant challenge in the game, depending on which biome you build in, and I actually built in the boreal forest biome, which is an especially cold one. So you can see I'm starting a fire right now using a lighter. A lighter is actually one of the easiest tools. They're kind of rare, but you can find them from zombies and in loot. Fire makers don't last forever, so if you have one, it will run out, but you can always craft more. There are primitive tools like hand drills and bow drills. Now I'm just going to cook this fish up. Once I eat this, that's going to improve my health regeneration, and it's going to give me a health boost that lasts for maybe about an hour or so in game. And with hunger taken care of, we can focus on other things, like expanding our base, exploring some of the abandoned towns and fighting the zombies that reside there, leveling up, and even completing quests for our friends over in Halcyon. Thanks for joining me to take a look at Wanderlust.
Hello? Is anyone there?
Guess we're taking the ghost out of Ghost Town, huh, kid?
I've always wanted to visit New Orleans, but not like this.
Nice one! That's not my home. That's my hell.
Awesome! 관계를치다!
A minor chord, just for you.
Get ready for the new and awesome edition of Kung Fury Street Rage, A Day at the Beach. What could possibly be more epic than a true hero? Another hero! Double Trouble. Enjoy the breathtaking multiplayer as Player 2 joins the fight. Yeah, 2! Because teamwork makes the dream work. Play as Hasselhoff. The world's most iconic lifeguard steps in with his singing prowess and... oh, that's some nice chest hair, sir. More action. More awesome. This game just has more. Choose your stage. Punch Nazis in the sewers, on the beach, in the Viking Age. Hell, punch Nazis everywhere, all the time. Kung Fury Street Rage. Soon available on a platform near you.
Rated M for mature.
Wow. Shout out to Humble Games for Coral Island. That is an exquisite game.
Looks so good. Chef's kisses all around for sure. Shout out to Neon Doctor for holding it down. Make sure to wishlist all of those games, of course, and pick up My Lovely Wife when it is ready and available. For our last segment, we are going to blast through some more games, starting with an update from a deductive wizard simulator. Check out some new takes on the strategy genre, and then catch up with games from our friends at Bit Summit with their anticipated GC 3.5 indie picks.
Oh yeah.
Let's go.
Hello there, and welcome to Evil. As your mayor, let me be the first to say, this is a safe place to...
Another mayor dead. They don't last very long around here. This used to be a quiet, peaceful place. Times have changed. These days, no one is safe, not even in their own homes. And the conspirators are to blame. They lurk in the shadows and strike when nobody's watching. However, all hope is not lost. Each one of you possesses remarkable skills that will aid in your quest for justice. Special abilities that not only help you uncover the conspirators, but also prove your innocence. You will have to trap, spy, and even kill to help ensure your survival. For some of you, won't be so lucky. Fear not, because even in the afterlife, you can aid your fellow villagers. You must work together and find the conspirators hiding in plain sight. With the information you've gathered, cast your vote to eliminate the wreakers of havoc and restore order to evil. That's unless you're one of them.
Greetings, Your Majesty, and welcome to the unforgiving world of orcs. In Orcs, your primary goal is to protect your kingdom against the hordes of ruthless Orcses. If your main castle falls, it means the kingdom is lost. If you manage to defeat every wave of Orcs, it means you live to fight another day. You'll have some troops of your own, but you can't rely on them to defeat the Orcs. You will always be outnumbered. So the only reliable way to get rid of them is to build some more castles. To build something, you need to pick a card from your hand and place it on a map. Be strategic about it. You should always consider from which direction the Orcs are planning to attack this time. A castle consists of several parts, so you would need more than one card to complete it. Build it as large as you want. A finished castle can be upgraded with runes, additional towers, and special buildings to make it shoot faster, deal more damage, or even get a new type of attack. The more castles you have, the more chances for you to repel the next wave of enemies. There are some mysterious structures on the map. Those are the vaults. If you complete its quest, it may reward you with some new cards you can add to your deck. Deck building is an essential part of Orcs. You'll get the chance to upgrade certain cards, slowly creating a perfect deck that will suit your playstyle. 2 campaigns won't ever feel the same, thanks to the roguelike nature of the game. If you fail, you can always try again, but this time with new cards in the starting deck. Or you can try out one of the other factions, each with a unique playstyle. So good luck to you, Your Majesty. I would wish you a long reign, but let's keep it real. I can already hear the Orcs approaching.
Hey there! My name is Thomas Waterzooi and I'm the developer of Please Touch the Artwork. What would happen if you did touch the artwork? That's the question I wanted to explore in this game. This resulted in 3 unique narrative puzzle experiences, all inspired by art movement, the style, and more specifically paintings from Piet Mondrian. Make no mistake thinking this is a serious game that explains every detail of the art of Mondrian. It's more about the enjoyment of the visuals, the music, and the stories behind the paintings, together with a little bit of cozy puzzling. It uses modern art to tell modern stories, both anecdotal, fictitious, and autobiographical, both quirky, light-hearted, and bittersweet.
Game number 1
tells you about the creation of abstract art using a story inspired on the Genesis story from the Bible. Instead of creating the earth, we'll be creating the canvas and primary color. You'll have to add colors and lines to the canvas to reproduce the painting on the left. Let me quickly fast forward so you can see some more of the levels. By the way, all content is procedurally generated.
Game number 2
tells the story of Boogie and Woogie, 2 squares who just want to be together, but a rapidly growing world is making this harder and harder. You'll have to help Woogie reach Boogie by figuring out how the obstacles influence Woogie's path. It's actually a modern Romeo and Juliet adaptation that addresses racial inequality. You choose an entrance and Woogie automatically moves forward. The color blocks will then change Woogie's direction.
Game number 3
It's a visual poem about moving to the big city, full of excitement and high hopes, only to be overwhelmed with mixed emotions, from joy and excitement to feeling homesick and missing your friends and family. Please Touch the Artwork is all about relaxing. There's no time pressure, no skills required. You can play in short sessions. The game doesn't punish you, but engages you to try out stuff to progress, by trial and error, which is a metaphor for the creative process. The game won Best Art at Tokyo Game Show, Most Impact at Brazilian Indie Developer Game Conference, and was featured by Eurogamer and news outlet The Guardian in the top 20 games from 2022 so far. It's also nominated as a finalist for the Apple Design Awards. So I'm very grateful for that, and I hope it might convince some of you to buy and play it. Oh yes indeed, it's already available now on Steam, Apple App Store, and Google Play, and it will be released on Switch early this summer. And a little exclusive secret, it will be coming to VR as well, but don't tell anyone.
We're back. Much gratitude to John Davis and the Bit Summit team for sharing their picks for GC3.
Yes, I cannot wait to go back to Bit Summit.
I can't wait to go back to Kyoto. It's been too long. That concludes the Guerrilla Collective 3.5. Thanks once again to our sponsors and broadcasting partners for their support. PlayStation, Razer, Astro Gaming, and Tencent. Thank you also so much Twitch, GameSpot, Valve, and IGN for hosting the stream.
Yeah, and be sure to check out the Guerrilla Collective event page on Steam, where you can learn more about these games, buy the games that are available now, or add the games that are not available to your wish lists.
Yes, definitely do that. Thanks to the scrappy and illustrious Mix team, Media One, and of course Wilmer Sound, my amazing co-host. Thank you so much. It's been so long.
It has. Thank you, Justin.
Yes. And where can we find you and the team?
Yes, you can find us on Instagram at Wilmer Sound, or on Twitter at Real Wilmer Sound.
Definitely check out Wilmer Sound. Also, once again, my name is Justin Woodward, co-founder of The Mix. You can follow Guerrilla Collective on Twitter at Guerrilla Collect, everywhere else at Guerrilla Collective, and The Mix on Twitter at Indie Exchange, and everywhere else at Media Indie Exchange. Thank you so much for joining us. This concludes Guerrilla Collective 3.5 and 3. We will see you really soon. Peace.
You most likely won't be able to write it again anytime soon. It takes quite a long time to build that meter up again, so just perform a mounted Punisher instead.
Learned your lesson?
You can deal extra damage to an enemy and perform a knockback by timing your Wyvern riding emergency evades just right. Think of it as a parry performed right when an attack would have otherwise hit you. You start out with all 14 weapon types already in your item box, which you can find all over Kamora Village. While there, make an item loadout to easily unload and restock between quests, which you should do every time. Check out the craft list at the box to craft without having to move items to the pouch and make useful stuff like mega potions and armor skin. Then make sure to configure and use your radio menu for commonly used consumables. You can even set to craft from your radio menu. As you hunt monsters, you'll fill out your hunter's notes, which tell you a monster's weaknesses and the best way to get the particular material you're after, whether it's by killing and carving, breaking a certain part, or capturing. You can also find tutorials for each weapon here. Then head to the training area, the best place to practice, experiment, and get to know a weapon, because button mashing just won't cut it for Monster Hunter Rise. Get there by taking the dinghy in the Buddy Plaza, then you'll be able to fast travel there with ease. To shave off a few minutes of each quest, you can capture a monster as soon as this blue icon appears below it, or when your Palico says it's time, by putting down a trap and throwing a few trank bombs at its face. Though you can learn this if you do the optional tutorial quest. There's another benefit. Capturing some monsters will occasionally unlock new weapon schematics too. Just about everything is more valuable as a crafting component than it's worth to sell, even if it's not apparent now, so gather everything you pass in the field and keep all of your quest rewards. Even golden fry, for example, can be used to make equipment, eventually. The exception, however, is items that are marked as fetches a good price, which you can easily find by auto-sorting your inventory. Sell all that crap as soon as you can. The Argosy's rare finds can be purchased for Kamora points and sold for a high price, too. Some items are exclusive to certain locales, like Icium in the Frost Islands and Eroded Husk in the Sandy Plain, so make a specific point to gather from new locations if you haven't been there before. Armor spheres increase armor's defense, but hold on to these until you craft a piece you know you'll want to keep for a while. Basically, just don't use them on your starting gear. Most materials can be picked up by everyone in a party, but some endemic life, like the puppet spiders and whale nard hunting helpers, can only be picked up by one person at a time. However, endemic life, mining nodes, and other materials will respawn over time. The Argosy and Meowcenaries, though extremely vital side activities to keeping your inventory stocked with important items, also serve another purpose. They're the only way to find some exclusive materials that unlock cool and flashy new armor and weapons, which we won't show you here because, spoilers. Your Palicos and Palamutes will learn skills as they level up, but you have to equip them at the buddy board. Though wearing multiple pieces of the same set will grant you a bonus to elemental resistances, it's okay to mix and match. Especially after you reach high rank, you may want to mix different pieces together to find a combo of armor skills that match your playstyle and weapon of choice. For example, Kezu Waist and Legs have Focus and Slugger. Great for hammers and hunting horns, but if you're not fond of the skills on the rest of the set, find something else. As you explore each location, keep an eye out for relic records, also called old messages. There are 60 in total, and it's worth noting that the best way to spot one is on foot. So while riding a Palamute might get you places faster, consider taking the slow route to your next destination to find secrets. Even blunt weapons like hammers need to be sharpened with a whetstone. A dual weapon will bounce, leaving you wide open to attack and deal less damage. The control layout of Monster Hunter Rise is super customizable. My favorite options to tweak are button hold settings to make it faster to mount Palamutes, dash settings so I can press the L stick once to continuously dash, and the camera distance to see my surroundings better. You can also change the camera style to automatically follow the target once you're locked onto it with the R stick. You might hit the village hub credits, but there's significantly more game, monsters, and story after that, so keep going. I can tell you an unlimited list of tips for Monster Hunter Rise, but for more, you'll have to check out our full Monster Hunter Rise wiki on IGN.com. You can also see this concise beginner's guide and tips to conquering the rampage, but for everything else, stick with IGN.
Resident Evil, the classic survival horror franchise, turns 25 this year. And while the series has certainly had its ups and downs in the past, with the upcoming Resident Evil Village, Resident Evil 4 VR, a rebooted live-action Resident Evil movie adaptation, and a Resident Evil Netflix show and movie, Resident Evil is clearly having a moment. But when you've been around that long, you've probably accumulated your share of strange development stories, weird anecdotes, and hidden Easter eggs, and that's certainly true of Capcom's beloved horror franchise. So here are 7 things you probably didn't know about the Resident Evil games. Resident Evil. And then they say the number of the game. Or they say like Code Veronica. It's weird. The original Resident Evil is a low-poly survival horror masterpiece that demonstrated how video games could uniquely bring the horror genre to life. Cinematic cutscenes, campy voice acting, dynamic camera angles, and terrifying jump scares all come together to tell the story of a sprawling, dimly lit mansion brimming with undead monsters. Resident Evil utilized nearly all of the capabilities of the then immensely powerful PlayStation, which makes it all the more strange that Resident Evil was originally planned to be a Super Famicom game. You see, Capcom had previously made a Famicom game called Sweet Home, a survival horror experience where players take on the roles of multiple characters as they explore a creepy mansion, collect notes, micromanage a constrained inventory, and use rudimentary items like keys, lighters, and lockpicks. Sound familiar? Well, it turns out Sweet Home's director, Koji Oda, told Game Informer in 2017 that Resident Evil originally began development for the Super Famicom as a sort of spiritual successor to Sweet Home. Sweet Home was based on a movie that Capcom no longer had the rights to, so the company decided to create its own horror game series. Nintendo's market-leading position in the early 1990s meant developing for its hardware was the smart financial bet to make, so a Capcom horror game for the Super Famicom was the way to go, despite its limited power. But the infamous falling out between Nintendo and Sony, famed for their efforts to create a joint console together, led to Sony striking out on its own with the PlayStation, which launched in 1994. Capcom realized the far more capable hardware would allow developers to tell more immersive, expansive stories, and development of Resident Evil moved to PlayStation and started its rise to prominence. Now, we don't know what a Super Nintendo Resident Evil game would have looked like, but the system did get its share of atmospheric horror games like Super Ghouls and Ghosts, Zombies Ate My Neighbors, and Clock Tower, so it's very possible that Resident Evil could have maybe looked similar to one of them. That said, if you're now wondering what the Resident Evil series would have looked like as a chunky pixel art horror game, well, do we have a story for you? Stick around for that one, if you want. But you should. It'll be fun. In 2019, Capcom completely remade and reimagined the 1998 classic Resident Evil 2 for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC, and the results were widely regarded to be one of the best video game remakes of all time. Capcom has a great record of remaking fan-favorite Resident Evil games, including they beautifully remade original Resident Evil for the Nintendo GameCube, but they've also been responsible for a few Resident Evil demakes that were much less successful. You see, the late 90s was a crowded era for video game handhelds, with Nintendo, Sega, SNK, and Bandai all selling portable gaming systems. In 1997, American toy company Tiger Electronics, mostly known for making shoddy LCD games and also Furbies,
all new Furbies,
decided to throw down with its own dedicated handheld called the Tiger Gamecom, a clunky black and white oddity that nobody bought. Well, maybe one guy bought, and he'll definitely leave a comment on this video. Hey, it's good to see you. Thanks for just hanging out. Anyway, Capcom saw tremendous success with Resident Evil 2 and decided to port it to the Gamecom to incredibly weird results. The fully 3D rendered third-person survival horror game was now a flat, colorless 16-bit 2D game that scrapped pretty much everything that made the original memorable, including the entirety of Claire's campaign. By the year 2000, the failed Tiger Gamecom had been discontinued entirely, making the Resident Evil 2 pixel art remake a weird but also kind of peculiar footnote in Resident Evil history. Hey, at least it actually reached store shelves, which is more than we can say for the canceled Game Boy Color port of the original Resident Evil. Seriously, look at this thing. They almost made Resident Evil for the Game Boy Color, like with fixed camera angles and everything. I love it. When Resident Evil 3 Nemesis launched in 1999, the story picked up right where its predecessor Resident Evil 2 left off, in the streets of Raccoon City, introducing some new mechanics and a menacing new monster named the Nemesis T-Type. However, the original plan for the third Resident Evil game was a much different experience. After the wild success of Resident Evil 2, Capcom explored lots of different directions for sequels and spin-offs, with legendary game designer Hideki Kamiya taking the lead on a version of Resident Evil 3 that centered around Hunk, the Umbrella Special Forces agent from Resident Evil 2, attempting to transport a G-Virus virus sample on a cruise ship across the ocean. This version was ultimately scrapped for the street-level version of Resident Evil 3 that fans know today, most recently from the remake the game received in 2020. The cruise ship setting did make its way into a Resident Evil game eventually when the Game Boy Color exclusive Resident Evil Gaiden, meaning spin-off in Japanese, launched 2 years later in 2001. Gaiden takes place entirely on a dilapidated passenger ship overrun with zombies and pits series staples Leon S. Kennedy and Barry Burton against hordes of the undead in a top-down 8-bit action-adventure game that switches to first-person shooting for combat. A cruise ship was also the setting for 2012's Resident Evil Revelations, and then another gigantic cruise ship returned to Resident Evil along with a first-person shooting again in the second half of the 2017 hit Resident Evil 7. So basically, Resident Evil went from having almost no huge boats to just having tons of huge boats, just constantly, just huge boats all the time. There's even one in Resident Evil 5, just non-stop huge boats. Obsessive Resident Evil 4 players know that beating the game on the hardest difficulty unlocks unique exclusive weapons like the Plaga Removal Laser, which can basically one-hit any enemy in the game. But on the opposite end of the difficulty spectrum, the original version of Resident Evil 4 also contains a much easier amateur mode, that is, if you bought the game in Japan. The Japanese version of RE4, known as Biohazard 4, has an exclusive super easy amateur mode where every weapon has double the ammo capacity and Leon takes much less damage when being attacked by the wide array of horrible enemies in this game. Amateur mode, like the easy mode that did appear in other territories, allows players to skip entire sections of the game, like the hedge maze full of grotesque tentacle wolves in Chapter 3-2, making it a unique option for the Resident Evil 4 speedrunning community, which has used the mode to beat the entire game faster than in any other mode. This has led to the current Resident Evil 4 speedrun world record of 1 hour, 13 minutes, and 48 seconds, which ironically is harder to accomplish than any hard mode that any Resident Evil game has ever shipped with. Like many Resident Evil games, Resident Evil 4 has been ported to nearly every video game system ever made. Don't ask me how many ports of Resident Evil 4 I've purchased personally, because the answer is all of them. So new players and old players alike have had easy access to this fantastic and infinitely replayable game on tons of platforms since it first launched in 2005. However, in 2017, 12 years after the game initially launched, a YouTuber named Slippy Slides, who's best known for his videos where he drags the camera around secret and unseen areas of hit video games, found a still hidden Easter egg in Resident Evil 4. You see, in the back half of the game, a helicopter attempts to reach Leon, but it crashes after being shot down by a rocket. Leon is then left to proceed on his own again, but instead of rushing to the next conflict, Slippy Slides looked off into the distance to find a silhouette lurking inside a building the player cannot reach. Breaking the game and flying the camera there reveals a mysterious, flat person wearing a lime green jacket and a scarf. They don't move or talk or do anything since they're either just a bizarre low-res placeholder texture or a secret Easter egg representing one of the developers, but either way, just look at it! Nobody at Capcom has stepped forward to confirm who this person is, so your guess is as good as ours, but in a game packed with murderous villagers, bio-mutated monsters, and a potato sack-headed chainsaw guy, Secret Scarf Man might be the creepiest of them all. Resident Evil isn't the only Capcom franchise where stoic but campy protagonists fight hordes of the undead across once peaceful settings. There's also Dead Rising, which basically asks, what if Resident Evil, but open world, and infinitely sillier? So it's not too surprising that the two franchises have actually referenced each other. For starters, Keniston Express, a frame and photo development store in Dead Rising's Willamette Parkview Mall, makes an appearance in Resident Evil 5's opening village area. Like everything else in this village, the signage looks a little rough around the edges, but it's cool to think that the locals here appreciate the fine art of photography. Speaking of photographers, Dead Rising's photojournalist hero Frank has his name appear, along with his enemy-turned-partner Isabella, in an in-game file found in Resident Evil 5 that lists them both as deceased! Damn, Resident Evil did them dirty. Really though, Resident Evil was just returning the favor because 3 years earlier, Dead Rising made fun of one of Resident Evil's most iconic and just wonderfully bad voiceover lines with a mid-mall eatery referencing the Jill sandwich. After the bloated and meandering Resident Evil 6 launched in 2012, the Resident Evil franchise seemed completely at odds with itself. It had gone from a claustrophobic and languorous survival horror franchise to a mishmash and overextended action romp, splitting the fanbase and leaving many wondering how the series would move forward. 2017's Resident Evil 7 recalibrated the story, rooting it in exploration and survival through intimate, derelict environments rife with obtuse puzzles and deliberately cautious pacing that the original game so expertly nailed. Capcom stated that the vintage horror movie franchise Evil Dead, the 1981 2001 Sam Raimi film, where Bruce Campbell visits a remote cabin in the woods filled with undead horrors, was a huge inspiration for Resident Evil 7's creation and overall direction. Capcom returned the favor by adding several nods to the cult classic film all around Resident Evil 7, including giving the game's protagonist Ethan Winters an ugly yolk-colored Oldsmobile similar to the one Ash drove in The Evil Dead. Additionally, one of the game's villains, Jack, repeatedly says Ash's catchphrase "groovy" during a boss fight with Ethan. Ooh. Oh, and Ethan spends much of the game attempting to rescue his wife named Mia, the same name as the main character in the 2013 female-led reboot movie Evil Dead, which is awesome and violent and bloody, and you should watch it. You don't have to keep that part, I just wanted to say that. And those are just a few things you probably didn't know about Resident Evil. So what's your favorite Resident Evil secret? For example, did you know that the Resident Evil title screen voice guy just talks like that all day, everywhere he goes, to everyone? That's actually not true, I made that up. That'd be really weird and like scary. Very scary and weird. Anyway, talk about Resident Evil in the comments below. It's an awesome video game franchise. It just turned 25, so here's to 25 more years. Then it'll be 50 years old, which will make it the same age as Resident Evil 4's Salazar, unless he's 10. I can't really tell. He's like an old child man. I don't get it either. Anyway, thanks for watching. Go celebrate Resident Evil!
What was that?
What if I told you that I'd been hearing a single sound everywhere for 22 years? I've heard it in countless movies, tons of television shows, video games, and even pop music. It's a short, 3-second sound effect of something that's really quite inoffensive, but still manages to register with me every time I hear it. It's very simple, and there are a lot of sounds like it, but it cuts through the noise of anything I'm watching or listening to whenever it plays, and frankly, I've become obsessed with it. It's most often used as the effect of a futuristic lab door opening. I don't know why, but for decades it's been burrowed into my brain. This innocuous noise has been in and around practically everything I enjoy, and every time it plays, it forces 2 simple questions into my brain. How was it made, and who made it? It's been 22 years now. It's time to get those answers. It's hard to pinpoint when I first started noticing the sound effect, but as an educated guess, I want to say it was in the prominent use of Jean-Claude Van Damme's masterpiece, Universal Soldier. As a teenager, I spent a good chunk of my youth watching and then re-watching every cheesy 90s sci-fi action movie that you can imagine, and Universal Soldier was certainly in rotation. But since then, and especially since starting this journey, I've found and documented it all over the place. From Bond film Tomorrow Never Dies, to Scooby-Doo. From Tomorrowland, to The Venture Bros. From 90s children's TV shows, to a trailer for Square Enix's latest looter shooter, Outriders. The application of this simple sound effect is everywhere, and its endless uses are way beyond what any one person could track. But my journey with this sound actually started quite a bit earlier. There I was, a fresh-faced 15-year-old excited about being able to purchase my first ever 15-rated video game myself. It's not that my parents were ever particularly strict about age ratings, but the idea of being able to walk into a store and buy a game about zombies and blood myself was liberating. During my playthroughs of what I still consider to be an all-time classic, I was constantly aware of how descriptive the use of sound was. Whether that was the shambling groans of the zombies or the clickety-clack of the typewriters, the use of sound in the series as a whole is something that's stayed with me ever since. Little did I know though that one of the more passive sounds, a simple opening of a laboratory door, would be the one I'm still obsessing about over 20 years later. So what is it about this sound? Why has it become stuck in my head so firmly? Now this is an answer I've really struggled with, because I found it so hard to quantify why I find it so satisfying. Perhaps it's the almighty clunk or the winding motors that pan from left to right, but the more I dissect it, the more I believe it's the simple sound's ability to be completely diegetic, yet almost otherworldly. I've certainly never heard a door like it, but it always feels like it belongs despite the situation. Unfortunately though, tracking a sound effect's origin is not that easy. My first hurdle was simple: how do you Google a sound effect? Typing in lab door or sci-fi door understandably brings back thousands of results that could take forever to wade through. And it's not as if there's a Shazam type app for sound effects, although I really do wish there was. I was off to a bad start, so I decided to pull back and start simpler: asking a friend. My first port of call was my immediate connections in the IGN UK office, specifically my colleague Jesse, who, like me, is a huge Resident Evil fan. Although also extremely familiar with the sound, knowing how to find it was also a mystery to him. Thankfully though, Jesse had a friend called John. John is not only a huge Resident Evil fan, but has also been involved in the Resident Evil modding scene, specifically working on sound effects and voiceover. As such, he knows more than a little about the original source files. This was my guide to set me on my way, and he kindly agreed to chat to me. Obviously, we've got a mutual friend in my colleague Jesse, and he's mentioned that you've done work with Resident Evil modding in the past. Is that right?
That's correct. I would do a few little mods here and there and a few little fan projects, and I'd usually tout myself as the sound designer. I say that with air quotes because I'm not a professional by any means. It's just a hobby of mine.
I've been chasing the sound from Resident Evil 2 of the lab door now for a long time, and it turns out you can't really Google what the sound effect is, so I was hoping that you might be able to help me out with this. Being familiar with the original Resident Evil sound files, John knew that a bunch of them could be sourced legally, specifically from a sound repository called Sound Dogs. What the average person might not know is that recycling sound files is and was quite common practice. It turned out Capcom had done a significant amount of this with Resident Evil, spending a fraction of the cost of original sound creation on a license instead. It's something they're less likely to do in these days, preferring to create original sounds in-house, but back in 1998 it made all the sense in the world. With this knowledge, and now a hint of my obsession, John and Jesse began combing through every potential relevant search term they could imagine. Until...
And about 30 or 40 sound effects in, I hear that sound. It doesn't take too long. You hear the door open, you hear it close, whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's it. That's the one. It has to be.
So thanks to John, Jesse, and some internet sleuthing, I now had a file and a link to a sound library. Logic would suggest that the reason I'd heard it in so many places was due to how accessible this library was to sound designers. But in my quest to find its origins, the next question was, how did it get onto this library in the first place? In an attempt to understand this procedure more, I got in touch with one of the few sound connections I have in the professional world. Someone I knew from my younger days while playing in a band. Chris Mock is a sound designer, who, since the humble beginnings of mixing my audio in local UK music venues, had gone on to do much greater things in the world of live events and television. I was hopeful that not only could Chris give me more insight, but he also might have some theories on how the sound itself was made. After giving Chris a quick rundown of my obsession and all my progress so far, and despite being slightly perplexed by the situation, he kindly agreed to help, and we dove straight into discussing sound libraries. Are there people out there that specialise in just creating them for stock libraries?
Yeah, there are both. I mean, there are people that they just record sound effects and put them onto a stock library, whether that's their own website, or they put them on places like Sound Ideas or Sound Dogs. So what they might do is start with the sound effects from a stock library, but then add things. You can chop it, change it, stretch it, add to it, put reverb on it, whatever you want to do to it, really. You don't have to then say, okay, this is a scream and it has to be like that. You know, you can manipulate it like they do in films. You know, they do use sometimes stock sound effects. There are many that have, over the years, that are familiar, and sound designers try and slip them into a film. I'm sure you know which sound effect I'm talking about, but
exactly. For the uninitiated out there, Chris is referring to perhaps the most popular stock sound effect ever used in film, the Wilhelm scream, a sound effect popularised by its use in Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and pretty much every big budget action film ever since. But that's a different and well documented story. I'm here to find out about my lab door. So I decided to quiz Chris on what he thought the sound was.
First thoughts, it's a door from a sci-fi film.
Yeah.
Just one more listen. So that's definitely not, they haven't just gone, let's record this door, because a door like that, you know, wouldn't exist. So they would have had to create it. I'm going to have a listen again.
After repeated listens, it almost felt like Chris had become as enamoured with the sound as I had. Or perhaps he was just really keen to pinpoint the noise for me and make a solid prediction. But I like to imagine that it's the former.
Obviously, it is a door opening and closing.
Yeah.
But then it sounds like there's some kind of motor in there. It could be a drill. It could be a belt drive from a car that's slowed down. There's something metallic in there as well. But then that might be the door. Mm-hmm. Maybe they've added some kind of hit to it as well.
Yeah.
I'm going to listen again. God, it's so intriguing. I really want to know what it is now.
I had a link and a sound library, the original General Series 6000, which sounds more like a top-of-the-range toaster than a library of soundscapes, and suddenly, finding the effect's origins felt within grasp. After spending far longer than I'd like scrolling through the track list, I eventually found my true love, unimaginatively called Sci-Fi Door 6039_24_1. But despite the minuscule description and a note of duration, I was none the wiser to its source. So, in another moment of need, I reached out to Sound Dogs themselves, hoping that they'd guide me on my journey. I took a brief moment to enjoy this small victory. After all, I started with just a sound in my head that I was unable to Google, and now I'd managed to find the creator's name. The moment passed though, and I was quickly on to my next step of trying to track down Mike McDonough. Fortunately, this time, Google was on my side. After a quick tap and smash into the search engine, I was spoiled for information about Mike. But perhaps most notable was his very reputable work in the sound field for the last 4 decades, including big budget productions like Star Trek Insurrection and Disney's The Black Cauldron. I also found a modern video of Mike, introducing the Mike McDonough SFX collection to potential sound library customers. I now had a name and a face for the man behind the door, but I was still none the wiser with how to get in touch with him. With no apparent website or social media presence, getting in touch with Mike was proving to be tricky. At this point, it honestly felt like I'd hit a dead end, and after 2 weeks of fruitless searching, I genuinely considered stopping here with just the satisfaction of finding out his name. But there it still was, an itch in my brain that I had to scratch. I decided to pick up my trail and stumbled upon an article from a Swiss website called Digitech, where in March of this year, the author had spoken to Mike about one of his signature door sounds being used in a classic video game. And no, it wasn't my Resident Evil lab doors. They'd reached out about a signature sound far more documented, the Doom doors. Yep, that's right. Not only had Mike constructed my iconic door sound, but he'd also created perhaps the most iconic door sound in video game history. A sound so widely recognised on the internet that it even earned its own moniker as the Doom doors. You can find YouTube videos montaging its uses, and it even has a page dedicated to it on TV Tropes. This article gave me enough information to help me contact Mike and prepare for our meeting, but while studying the piece, I discovered the author's journey had been eerily similar to mine. Both highlighting stock library sounds that had been used in video games, both hearing the sounds everywhere we went, and both of us motivated by childhood nostalgia, and, despite being completely different sounds, both ending up talking to the same man, Mike McDonough.
Well, my name is Mike McDonough, and I guess we're here to talk about some sounds I made.
At this point, I imagine you're as keen as I was to find out the history of this infectious sound, but the question I immediately needed an answer to was how he actually made it.
I've got to go back in my internal time machine, which isn't very good anymore. So the initial sort of click-clack sound is actually one of the very first CD players. And we were excited to get this new technology in the studio. And it was a big, heavy thing. And the little tray that comes out, it was very beefy. It was solid. It was metal. It wasn't plastic and flimsy. And it had this mechanism, this motor sound. And it went clickety-clack. And so I took it in the studio, opened the grand piano, opened the lid, and set it on the strings of the grand piano so it would resonate. So it would be louder. I wanted to magnify that sound and have it resonate on the strings. Then I just got a microphone, a Neumann U87, which is my favorite mic back then. And I got it as close as I could to the mechanism and just open and close.
An old CD player inside of a grand piano was not exactly what I was expecting, but something I did foresee was the sound being multi-layered. It turned out that the CD player was only the first of multiple elements.
And then I needed a kind of a sustained motor. And the studio had an old copy machine. Well, it was new back then. It was a big giant thing. I think it was made by Xerox. And it had multiple paper trays. So it had this stack on the side with paper in it. And when you push the button, it made this, sound, which I thought, wow, that's a great sound.
And he wasn't done there.
So a friend of mine had one of the first hatchbacks. It was a Ford Capri, it was called, and it had a hatchback and the little hydraulic lifters on it, whatever they're called, when you open it, it made this sound. So we drove that onto the stage so it's nice and quiet, and I recorded that sound.
When it came to putting it all together though, Mike had one final trick.
The machine I fed it from, a reel-to-reel machine, it had a wonderful little device on it that I frankly used all through the 70s and 80s, almost into the 90s to do sound design pre-digital. And it was called a VSO. And it was a little box. It was VSO stood for Variable Speed Oscillator. And the motor on those machines had a certain frequency they ran at. And this little, it was just a big, a dial. And when you turn the dial down, the motor of the tape machine would run slower. When you turn the dial up, it would run faster. And if you put a sound on there and went from low, slow to fast, the pitch went up or the pitch went down. So the door would sound like it's, kind of has a little Doppler effect or it was moving.
I finally had an answer which was both substantially more complex than I imagined and also slightly disappointing. Not that the ear and imagination and assembly weren't impressive, but I guess deep down part of me was unrealistically hoping for something beyond traditional means. I still had two other important questions though. When did he create this sound? And most importantly, why?
Growing up in Los Angeles, I was exposed to a lot of creative type people down there. And through a chance meeting, I got to meet science fiction author, a fantasy writer named Ray Bradbury. We became sort of friends. He was kind of a mentor of mine. And I wanted to take his stories and adapt them into, I guess you'd call them radio dramas, just for fun. So I started doing that. And when I got into the university, we actually got a grant from National Public Radio to create 13 half-hour radio dramas based on Ray Bradbury's stories. So Ray was thrilled, and suddenly I had come up with 13 half-hour original radio dramas in stereo with original music and sound design. But I didn't have any sounds, really, that were professionally recorded at that time. This was in the 80s.
Right.
It was like 83, 84.
Oh, that's when I was born.
Yeah, it was before anybody that's watching this wasn't born. Well, I had a moment of weakness in, I guess, the late 80s. I just gotten married, and I was a college, employee and pretty broke, things are when you first start. In a moment of weakness and poverty, I sold a bunch of my sounds to a company called Sound Ideas. They dangled a check in front of me, and I thought, wow, someone actually wants my sounds? Someone's going to pay me money for these crazy sounds? So I sold a batch of them and became this disc called 6039 in Sound Ideas. And that was in the late 80s. And here we are talking about a sound that I made in the mid 80s and ended up in the sound effects library all these years later.
After selling all his sounds in the late 80s, Mike's library had spread far and wide. Despite not knowing about their usage in Resident Evil and Doom, he was fully aware of their proliferation in all forms of media.
For years, they've been available to the general public, and I hear them. I hear them on TV, I hear them in films, and I hear little snatches of them in all kinds of big giant budget films. And it's kind of like, now I can't use them. Because now everybody has access to them, and they're no longer, sort of my special little sounds that I created. So I just don't want to use the same old sounds everybody else is using, so I don't use my sounds.
There was something quite melancholic about Mike feeling like he couldn't use his own creations anymore, but there was also a clear sense of pride about his work being discussed all these years later. And perhaps more importantly, he clearly appreciated their substantial contribution to the soundscape of modern media. He'd built his legacy, but unfortunately, he was the silent partner. Despite my fascination behind the sound, Mike was very quick to normalise his work though, likening it to the disappointing reality of finding out the secrets behind a magic trick.
It's kind of anticlimactic to go into how these things were made, because there's such common sounds. A CD tray and a copy machine, and it's like looking behind the curtain. You know, in The Wizard of Oz, you know, don't look behind the curtain when you do, and you see this guy pulling levers, and kind of takes the mystique out of it, you know.
He was right. They were common household sounds that he once assembled into something useful for a very specific moment in time. But the real magic was the journey that the sound went on, something that he could have never imagined 40 years ago, and that was satisfying despite finally knowing the secrets. His sounds have left a legacy in modern media, and that's due to not only its production quality, but also its accessibility. It's something Mike could have never foreseen or perhaps even engineered. I started this self-given quest specifically looking to get answers about how the lab door sound effect was made, and finding out was ultimately satisfying. But for me, the fascinating and crazy story of the sound's journey is the one that will likely leave the lasting memory.
Ray Bradbury's A Sound of Thunder.
Say, does this safari guarantee I come back alive?
Mr. Eccles, the only thing we guarantee is what's stated in our brochure. You name any year in the past and any animal, we'll take you there and you shoot it. It's also on the sign above your head. That's all we guarantee. But I'm sure you'll do just fine.
Look, don't you worry about me. I've been on safaris before.
Yes, I'm sure you have. And now if you'll follow me, there's someone I'd like you to meet. Step right in, Mr. Eccles.
Down. Capcom Fighting Collection.
On June 24th, Capcom Fighting Collection will be released into the wild. 10 games are included from series such as Street Fighter, Darkstalkers, and even Red Earth in its first ever home console version. We got an early look at the arcade modes for each game, so we wanted to share a round from each one, starting with Hyper Street Fighter 2, the Anniversary Edition.
Round 1, fight! Psycho!
No mercy. Attack. Level up.
Ready?
And there you have it, one round from every game in the Capcom Fighting Collection. Let us know what you're most excited to play down in the comments. And for everything else gaming, you're already in the right place. IGN.
These creatures consume life.
Those who let themselves be lured into the trap will be whisked away by a swift gale, the embodiment of darkness, as they are slowly drained of their life. The darkness will show itself, basking in the light.
On my honor as a knight, I will end you. We will prevail. Hold nothing back. A worthy adversary indeed. Sorry to keep you waiting. We must bring peace back to Komura and the kingdom.
Together. Going on a quest with you two is gonna be fun.
In 5, 4, 3, 2.
We're out of space.
On it. We're going live.
Unleash the power of the Samsung 980 Pro PCIe 4.0 NVMe SSD for next level computing and double the data transfer rate of PCIe 3.0. It's 12 times faster than Samsung SATA SSDs, making for a whole new user experience. It's easy to install. Boost your PC performance, load games faster, and more reliably, no matter how intensive the workload. The Samsung SSD 980 Pro and 980 Pro with heatsink are proud partners of IGN's Summer of Gaming.
We're good.
In 5, 4, 3, 2.
IGN Summer of Gaming 2022 is going full swing, and today it's time for the Capcom Showcase to take the stage. Again. Fight! The publisher already blew us away during Sony's State of Play. Street Fighter 6 isn't pulling any punches and looks to be taking the fighter in a new direction, and the long-rumored Resident Evil 4 remake has finally seen the light of day. But what else is in store? Another look at Exoprimal? Ooh, another Monster Hunter expansion? Dragon's Dogma 2? Well, we don't have to wait too long to find out.
The Capcom Showcase starts right now, right here on IGN Summer of Gaming.
What's up, everybody, and welcome once again to IGN Summer of Gaming. I'm your host, Damon Hatfield, and in just a little while, Capcom's big summer gaming presentation will be starting. Until then, joining me is a panel of experts to help me break down every big announcement we hope to see during the show. Here with me now are my co-hosts, IGN's senior editorial producer, Mitchell Saltzman, Guides editor Casey DeFreitas, and gameplay producer Ronnie Barrier. What's up, everybody?
How's it going?
Everyone excited for some Capcom games today?
Very excited.
Unbelievably excited.
Unbelievably.
This is actually the one that I've been most excited for this whole show.
Well, then I'm very happy for you that you get to be here for this. Before that, just a reminder that IGN Summer of Gaming is a multi-day affair taking place over the course of June, and you can catch it everywhere IGN is, whether that's IGN.com, Twitch, YouTube, IGN 1 on your smart TV, and now you can even watch us on our Steam page. Be sure to stick around after the Capcom Showcase for an exclusive look at gameplay for the intense dinosaur battling game Exoprimal. Capcom has already been big in the summer gaming conversation with what was revealed during the Sony State of Play, with the long-awaited, heavily rumored remake of Resident Evil 4 and a much better look at Street Fighter 6. And there's also Exoprimal, which was revealed on an earlier Sony stream, and of course Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, the latest expansion. Let's talk Resident Evil 4 first. Game I've been very excited for. Actually haven't played, even though it's been released multiple times since then. I haven't played it since the GameCube version, so excited to revisit it. And with that reveal trailer that we got recently, there was just a lot of really quick cuts. So I'm hoping today we get a little bit more of a gameplay demonstration. Mitchell, how are you feeling about RE4 Remake?
Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited for it. I think, the conversation obviously has to be made. Do we need a Resident Evil 4 remake because of the fact that, Resident Evil 4 still holds up really well. Right. I personally, deep down, was kind of hoping for Code Veronica remake because I think that's one that I personally haven't played yet and I think could use a lot of love. But nonetheless, I'm really excited for Resident Evil 4. I think what I would love to see at the show or at the showcase is a look at kind of like the campy side of Resident Evil 4 because it's something that I think is really core to that game. One of the things that I really love about it, I love Ramon Salazar. I love the weapon merchant. So I would just love to see a trailer end with the weapon merchant coming out, going, "What are you buying?" But I'm curious to know what you guys think.
Yeah, Casey, you've covered a lot of Nintendo games on IGN.
Yes.
RE4 is really closely tied to Nintendo.
Yeah. GameCube, that was also the last time I played it and the first time I played it. Resident Evil 4 was also the first game I ever played that had QuickTime events leading straight from the cinematics. So I'm
Boulder.
they've got to keep that. They've got to keep that. And I'm interested if it's going to resonate the same with everyone the way it did when it first came out, because I know a lot of Resident Evil fans, Resident Evil 4 is their favorite. And some of the reason I think is it might have been a lot of people's first Resident Evil, at least was mine. That was the first Resident Evil I ever played. So I'm curious to see more. I want to see exactly what they are changing. I know they said they'd want to keep kind of like the core story intact, but what are they going to change? Are they going to keep the camp? Are they going to go more serious like they have been with the more recent Resident Evil titles? I'm curious. I want to see what they're going to do.
Ronnie, in the pantheon of Resident Evil games, where does Resident Evil 4 fall for you?
4 is right at the top for me, for sure. I played it first when I was a teenager, and we all have those games growing up. When you're playing it, it feels like, I shouldn't be playing this. You're kind of looking over your shoulders, like,
I'm gonna get in trouble.
Yeah, someone watching. It was on GameCube, such a friendly system. But yeah, the first time that dude with a burlap sack came out of the village with a chainsaw and just cut my head off, I was scarred forever, but in a good way. I've loved Resident Evil ever since then. I'm replaying 3 right now, just I kind of wanted to be in that world, but this looks to be totally more in line with 2 and 3, maybe less camp.
The remakes, right?
More gore. Yeah, the remakes. I do hope they have some of that campiness there, but they do seem to be going more for that horror vibe, I think, this new one.
Well, I'm excited to see more. You see, we have the official Capcom countdown up with the picture-in-picture with our stream here, in case you were wondering why you're seeing games that aren't Resident Evil 4 while we talk about that. But let's mention Street Fighter 6. This is a game that sort of had a big coming-out party recently. Saw a new character, Guile, was introduced at Summer Game Fest. Mitchell, I think you've played a lot of Street Fighter 6 already, right?
Literally the last 2 days have been me camping an uncomfortable amount of time at the Street Fighter 6 booth. to the point where I think I annoyed the PR people. But
Never.
Yes, I've played a lot of Street Fighter 6. I think it looks incredible. I have a convo up with Matt Kim talking about the new features of it. I think the most interesting thing that they're doing is that they're splitting up the control scheme. They're giving a secondary control scheme option for it's called the modern control scheme, and basically what it does is it ties every like denomination of attack to a single button. So you have a light attack, a medium attack, a heavy attack, and you have a special button. And it allows you to basically throw a fireball by just pressing a direction and the special button. It allows you to do supers by pressing a direction and two special buttons. So I think it allows newer players to focus on the fundamentals of fighting games rather than be overwhelmed with having to learn combos and special moves. But it also has that separate classic control scheme that's just like regular Street Fighter, where you can have that complexity. So I think it's a really good balance of appealing to both new and hardcore fighting game fans.
Well, I'm really interested to see more of this single-player sort of open world-ish mode for Street Fighter 6. However, Ronnie, I think the official Street Fighter Twitter account said recently that they're going to be going quiet for a little while. So I don't know. You think Street Fighter 6 is about to sit out this presentation we're about to see?
Most likely. They seem to say we're going dark. We're going to go work on the game. If we do see anything, maybe some World Tour stuff. But yeah, it kind of seems like they've shown a lot over the last few days. Pretty much like no embargoes on capture. They let anyone come in and, well, not anyone, but anyone who's there capture and then just talk over all their footage. As Mitchell so kindly played for so long, then just let me edit his footage.
Ronnie's a little jealous, guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you have to see this.
No, but probably not, I think, today, unfortunately.
Well, along with Resident Evil 4, we know there's also other Resident Evil announcements that are sort of imminent that are coming. We know there's next-gen versions of, 2, 3 remakes and 7. Village. And there's actually been some leaks recently. We covered this on IGN Daily Fix last week, where there's been some PlayStation Store entries that sort of popped up behind the scenes. I think it's possible the next-gen versions of those 3 games could be released today. And they're available now. One of those situations.
Be great timing for it.
Yeah. I mean, that would be good for me. I've not finished Resident Evil 8. I've been looking for a reason to get back into it. So I'm at the part where it got real scary, and I just put the controller down. And
I know the part.
So the first 5 minutes.
No, actually, it's past the Dimitrescu part. I saw too far ahead, and I got scared.
Well, hopefully you can continue your save with the next-gen version. I'm not sure how that will work. But there's also the PSVR 2 version of Resident Evil Village. Or no, I'm sorry. Was that the one? Yeah, because 7 already got the PSVR 2 version. Well, there's a lot of Resident Evil games to keep straight.
Who knows?
Ronnie, do you like your Resident Evil in VR?
I say that now, but I think once I get in there, it might change my story. I played a little bit of 7 in VR, and it scared the crap out of me. But I'm still looking forward to jumping back in and trying it. There's a lot of hand trauma in that game.
There is a lot of hand trauma.
It's going to be rough in VR.
Ronnie also made a great video about that, just basically montaged all the times Ethan's hands got utterly destroyed. So.
Speaking of being scarred.
There's also this Capcom game, Exoprimal. It was revealed earlier this year. Not too much has been sort of explained about that game since then, but I think, Casey, there's a fair amount we know already.
Well, a little bit. There was around 5-minute developer interview released on Capcom's official YouTube after that Sony State of Play that showed the announcement trailer. So we do know it's going to be a 5v5 online multiplayer game, but you're not directly fighting the other team. You are completing missions, and whoever finishes the missions first wins. I'm really excited to see more of that because it looks wild.
Yeah, this is the game that maybe some people were hoping might be sort of a Dino Crisis thing.
Yeah.
It is a crisis with dinos.
That's true. It is literally.
Short red hair.
And Hiroyuki Kobayashi, who was involved in Dino Crisis, is
it's just
working
raining
on this
dinosaurs in this game.
I'm hoping that this entire presentation just rains dinosaurs and monsters on us.
Amen.
Casey, you're our sort of resident expert on all things Monster Hunters. We got to get your thoughts on Sunbreak. That's out not too late. It's at the end of this month, right?
It's very soon. It's out on June 30th, and we already know so much about Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. It is honestly, I can't go through it all. It would take me like 30 minutes, but we've got a ton of new monsters where Monster Hunter Rise focused on Eastern-inspired folklore for their monsters. They're looking at Western-inspired monsters for this one. We know about the 3 new monsters of the 3 lords, and there's a vampire-inspired one, a Frankenstein golem-inspired one, and a werewolf-inspired one, Lunagaron, Garen Golem, and Malzeno, and those look really cool. And we already know a whole lot more. There's so much.
All right, well then let's talk hopes and dreams. What is everyone's pie in the sky announcement? There's been lots of rumors or just talk about Dragon's Dogma recently, Mitchell. Is there going to be a Dragon's Dogma 2?
If there's going to be a Dragon's Dogma 2, I don't even know what I'm going to do. Like Ronnie was talking about, games that kind of have like a, specific memory of being tied to a part of your life. Like Dragon's Dogma 1 was tied to a part of my life that was, a time of my life that was like just having the most fun. I was doing gameplay Let's Plays for a YouTube channel, and one of the ones that I did was Dragon's Dogma. I played through that whole game on camera, and it was just one of the most memorable experiences of my life, and I cannot wait to go through it again.
It's sort of, it has some DNA, I guess it shares some qualities with the Soulsborne games, right? It kind of came before all that.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to call it open world because it is kind of, a much smaller kind of world that you're going through, but it does have some open world aspects to it. There's like a little element of Skyrim where you're picking up quests, you're going to different quest points. It's also it's like Skyrim, but it doesn't handhold at all. Like Dragon's Dogma is notorious for just letting you do whatever you want. And like you'll go into an area you're not supposed to be in. A little archer dude will shoot one arrow at you, and you'll just die. And that's honestly something I would like to see maybe addressed in a Dragon's Dogma 2. But I think also this game, the thing that really stands out about it for me is how good the combat was and how like amazing it felt to be like a mage conjuring up like meteors falling from the skies. It was just. Well, such a cool game.
I hope you get your Dragon's Dogma 2. Casey, we know so much about Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak already. It's coming soon. Mm-hmm. What would be something that you'd hope to see today?
Man, so to be clear, the only thing that is confirmed to be shown during the showcase is Exoprimal, Resident Evil 4, and Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. It's only a 35-minute long showcase. I assume there has to be more than that. I mean, they have to surprise us with something. I think we're going to see some more subspecies. I know a lot of rumors have been going around. We've already confirmed that Legiacris is sadly not going to be joining us in Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, but it's called Sunbreak. We're going to break the sun, and if you're thinking about, I don't know, if you're thinking about other monsters that kind of fit that theme in the Western creepy horror vibe that the other new monsters are, Gormagala does do that. He has like a cape. He goes into the frenzy state. I keep saying and it has a state where it blocks out the sun, but that is a total pie in the sky thing, right?
Sure.
But I definitely think we're going to see some more subspecies, because by the time Iceborne came out, we already knew about like 10 of them, so we're due for some more.
All right, well, the Capcom showcase is just about to start. Real quick, Ronnie, what would be your sort of your dream announcement from Capcom today?
Dream announcement. Mike Hagar in Street Fighter 6.
Yes.
I think. He's the mayor of Metro City. They've already shown him in World Tour. Like, just make it official. That'd be great.
But like, Zangief is in the game. How would you differentiate between
that's tough. Zangief is my boy. But
give him an iron pipe?
Probably, yeah.
Like in
iron
Marvel?
pipe, he'd be a grappler, I think. But either Mike Hagar or really, I just want to see more actual gameplay of Resident Evil 4. Like you said, a lot of quick cuts. I want to see more of what they're doing. Are they going to make Ashley maybe a little bit less annoying? And then giant stone Salazar chasing you out of a church.
Yeah.
That's all that I want.
We're just standing by, ready to hand you over to Capcom just as soon as they begin. Make sure to stick around afterwards for our post-show coverage. Let's see.
Devil May Cry. I know Devil May Cry 5 didn't come out that long ago, but I can't help but just love to see Devil May Cry all the time. So Devil May Cry would be an awesome treat.
All right, here's Capcom. Don't forget to stick around afterwards for our post-show coverage. Enjoy the show.
everyone. Welcome to the Capcom Showcase, where we'll share exciting new updates on our upcoming games. We have some surprises in store, and hope you enjoy the show. Let's begin.
Hello everyone. I'm Ryozo Tsujimoto, producer of the Monster Hunter series. Thank you for tuning in to today's Capcom Showcase. We're excited to bring you the latest info on Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, which will finally be released at the end of this month. To kick things off, we've got a brand new trailer to show you. Let's take a look.
How'd you like this? You look like you still got that fire inside you, old Gallius.
You do as well, good elder. What do you say? Full steam ahead.
Taste my fury! Take this!
First, let me introduce a returning locale. The jungle area that debuted in the second generation of Monster Hunter games is back in Sunbreak. You'll notice that the jungle's appearance changes over time. It's a nostalgic area that both veteran hunters and new players are sure to enjoy. And of course, we've updated the jungle with new elements and endemic life specifically for its return in Sunbreak. Longtime fans can look forward to exploring the devastated ruins around the coastal area. From the Monster Hunter Frontier series comes Espinas. Espinas means thorns in Spanish. As the name implies, thorny scales cover its body. Normally, Espinas enjoys a quiet life and sleeps peacefully, but when it senses danger nearby, it explodes into a violent rampage. Even though it can seem docile, Espinas has a two-faced nature that can be extremely dangerous. The flagship monster of Monster Hunter 4, Gore Magala, is back. Gore Magala is a sightless creature with black scales and sensitive wing membranes used to sense the presence of prey. As Gore Magala's sensing ability increases, its two horns change form and it enters the frenzy state. While in a frenzy state, it gets so powerful that the ground beneath begins to break, and it uses its huge claws as an anchor during powerful attacks. In addition, the trailer also shows the Daimyo Hermitar, and the Pyrorachna Kadaki subspecies, which adds explosive elements, makes its fiery debut. There are still more monsters that have yet to be revealed, so stay tuned for more Sunbreak announcements in the future. There's one more thing I want to share with you all, so please watch the following video. A free demo for Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak is coming to both Nintendo Switch and Steam. The demo will be available to download as shown. In the jungle locale introduced today, you'll be able to take on Astalos. The new Switch skill swap system as well as new Silkbind attacks will be available for play. We'll have a few tutorial quests available for new players that will teach you the basic mechanics and moves. After mastering the basics, you'll be ready to take on other monsters in the demo to test your skills. For veteran hunters, an advanced quest will also be available where you can take on an extra challenging version of Sunbreak's flagship monster, Malzeno. The demo supports multiplayer for up to 4 players, and there's no limit to the number of times you can attempt quests. Get an early taste of Sunbreak action with this free demo. You can download it from the Nintendo eShop and Steam store page. Also, we would like for you to keep 2 things in mind when purchasing Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, so you will be able to enjoy all the added contents.
Following Sunbreak's release, we plan to release a number of free title updates. Please enjoy this quick video preview of what's on the way. Our first title update, scheduled for August 2022, will add Lucent Nargacuga. This monster will be a part of the first free title update to come to Sunbreak post-launch. In addition to the Lucent Nargacuga, we're also adding a new area, the iconic Forlorn Arena. With future title updates, we plan on including additional monsters, variants, and more. Our title update release schedule is as follows. The second title update is planned for a fall 2022 release. The third title update will come in winter 2022. And there's more to come in 2023. Each title update will include additional monsters and other elements. We hope you'll check them out. Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak will be released worldwide on June 30th, 2022. Digital pre-orders for Sunbreak are now available on both Nintendo Switch and Steam. Pre-orders will also receive a special bonus Palamute and Palico layered armor set. We're planning on keeping you updated with more information soon. Please visit the official website and follow Monster Hunter social channels for more info. That wraps up our news for Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. Thanks for tuning in, and enjoy the rest of the Capcom showcase.
Now we will present the Capcom Spotlight Corner. Street Fighter VI, coming soon. The next generation of Street Fighter is currently in development and has something fun for everyone to enjoy. Fan favorites Ryu and Chun-Li will be heating up the battle stage right alongside some of the newest fighters, Luke and Jamie. With breathtaking new visuals, unleash unprecedented battles with the all-new battle system. Street Fighter VI reimagines the fighting game experience with new modes that will allow you to experience the Street Fighter universe. What awaits you in this game? Look forward to our next announcement later this year. Celebrating the 35th anniversary of the Street Fighter franchise, the Capcom Fighting Collection will be released later this month. Included is the first ever release of Red Earth outside of arcades, Hyper Street Fighter II, 5 Darkstalkers titles, and more. 10 of the best fighting games from the arcade era are included in one package. All of the titles included will be playable online. So play a match against your friends, or fight online against new challengers. Enjoy a full range of online matches. Capcom Fighting Collection will launch on June 24th, 2022. Pre-orders are available now. Please visit the official website for more information. Play the games you loved again. Capcom Arcade Stadium has expanded. Capcom Arcade Second Stadium, coming July 22nd, 2022. Saturday Night Slam Masters, Magic Sword, Black Tiger, Eco Fighters, and more, combined for a total of 32 arcade titles. In addition to a bundle that features all 32 titles, each title is available for individual purchase and features, with lots of quality-of-life options. All players will receive Sun for free when downloading the base game. The bundle featuring all 32 titles is available for pre-order now. Get Display Frame Set 1 as a bonus for pre-ordering. To celebrate, get the Capcom Arcade Stadium title, Street Fighter II, The World Warrior. Free for a limited time. We hope you try out the Capcom Arcade Stadium as well. Next up is an update on Capcom's new team-based action game, Exoprimal.
Hi everyone, I'm Takuro Hiraoka, director of Exoprimal. We have a new trailer to show today that includes lots of gameplay. Let's take a look.
I am the artificial intelligence, Leviathan. Your personnel data indicates you are a suitable specimen to join an ongoing experiment. Under my supervision, Ibius Corp conducts its most important research here. Welcome to Bikitoa Island. You have been selected for a live combat test. The first team to complete their assignment wins. My archives encompass exhaustive records of human history. These annals are riddled with errors and institutional bias. Your species is susceptible to mass delusion. Fascinating. Humans dread the other. You seek to evolve, yet you do not want to change. You tear down curtains, yet fear revelations. Even when what is revealed is of your own creation. Combat data is required to develop the exosuit. At Ibius, we're always reaching for better. Always. Humanity resists quantification, an interesting variable. Within your behavior lies the answer. What is variable shall become fixed. Humans, fight and die for me. Carnage module online. I call your attention to the unstoppable Raptor Horde. Calculating chance of employee retention. Chance calculated at 8.7%. You must fight harder than ever if you wish to survive. A more grueling combat experiment is called for. You will now witness a small fragment of the war game.
You need to keep fighting until we can figure out how to destroy Leviathan.
We hope you enjoyed the trailer. Now, I will get into more detail about the game. Developed by Ivius Corporation, Leviathan is a next-gen AI that guides players throughout Exoprimal via voice navigation and augmented reality displays. Leviathan appears before players as a massive human-like figure, or as a surveillance drone called a Watcher. The trailer shows Leviathan unleashing hordes of dinosaurs. Players will battle these dinosaurs after being forced into Leviathan's infinitely repeating wargames. Why is Leviathan bringing dinosaurs into our world? And why is Leviathan repeating these wargames? Solve the mystery by playing the main game mode, Dino Survival. Let me provide a brief gameplay introduction. Exoprimal is a team-based action game. In Dino Survival, 2 squads of 5 race to complete objectives. Teams must follow Leviathan's directives and complete the mission before their rivals to win. These directives will feature a dynamic mix of missions. In fact, we just saw some in the latest trailer. There's Dinosaur Cull, where teams must eliminate a specific dinosaur. In VTOL Defense, teams protect a grounded aircraft from dinosaur onslaughts. In Data Key Security, teams escort a valuable asset to its destination. Destroy targets in Omega Charge with the powerful Omega Hammer. In Energy Taker, teams compete to collect the most energy. You also saw a glimpse of a strange and terrifying creature known as a Neo-Tyrannosaurus. While there are situations where you directly engage enemy players, there are other times where you band together with rivals to take down a major foe. This variety of missions will keep players on their toes. In Dino Survival, the missions change based on players' progression through the game. The experience will be different every time you play, even in matches with familiar surroundings and objectives. By playing Dino Survival, you will unlock story sequences and also earn rewards such as experience points to increase your player and exosuit levels. We'll provide more details about this at a later date. Now that we've detailed Dino Survival, let's move on to exosuits. We showed 2 new exosuits today. Barrage is an assault role exosuit. It uses explosives to set areas ablaze and bombards enemies with ricochet grenades. Vigilant is also an assault role exosuit. It wields a destructive railgun to snipe from long range. We have even more exosuits to share with you in the future, so look forward to upcoming announcements. We have one last announcement for today.
Welcome to my research facility.
We're conducting a closed network test for Exoprimal. Players will be able to try the game ahead of release. Help us test the game's online infrastructure and make improvements ahead of launch. Sign up to participate today. The closed network test will allow you to experience Dino Survival before the game's launch next year. We look forward to having you join in. That's all for today. We plan to release Exoprimal in 2023. Until then, keep an eye on our website and social media. Thank you for watching.
Next, we have a message about Dragon's Dogma, which recently celebrated its 10th anniversary.
Hi everyone, I'm Hideaki Itsuno, game director at Capcom. A few weeks ago, we celebrated the 10th anniversary of Dragon's Dogma. Thanks to all of you for joining us in this celebration. The world of Dragon's Dogma has since spread to various different kinds of media, ranging from games such as Dragon's Dogma and the Dark Arisen expansion, to digital comics and a Netflix original animated series. In the coming days, we will be releasing a video celebrating 10 years of Dragon's Dogma, talking about how and what Dragon's Dogma came to be. So whether you're a longtime fan or just curious about the series, we'll have something for you to enjoy. We hope you check it out. Once again, thank you all so much.
And now we have a bunch of updates from the Resident Evil franchise.
Hello everyone, I'm Tsuyoshi Kanda, the producer of Resident Evil Village. Thanks to all of our fans, Village has sold over 6 million units worldwide. Everyone on the team is incredibly happy to see so many people enjoy the game. Thank you for your support. The Resident Evil series continues to bring fun experiences to people around the world. We want longtime fans and people who are new to Resident Evil to enjoy this storied franchise. Let's start with this video.
Rose! It's all right, Rose. It's all right.
I can show you things even Chris doesn't know I can do. I want to live a normal life. She's near death and ew, something just moved on her hand. Shut up! What's going on here? You look just like me.
Now we have a new little rabbit to pursue.
It's time. Marking the target. It's showtime!
Now, what next?
Sorry to keep you waiting. We're happy to reveal the DLC for Resident Evil Village we promised last June. We think this new experience will be worth the wait. This DLC includes 3 major features. First, the third-person mode. Many people asked for this, and we were able to add it into the game. Now, you'll be able to see Ethan as he desperately fights for survival. Players that have already experienced Ethan's journey can enjoy the new perspective and animations too. The Mercenaries returns with additional orders in an arcade-style action game where focus has been put on the exhilarating feeling of defeating relentless hordes of enemies. New stages are included, as well as additional playable characters, such as Chris Redfield and Heisenberg. Of course, Lady Dimitrescu will be there too. We've really fueled this mode up. Enjoy looking down on your foes from over 9 feet above as Lady Dimitrescu slashes her enemies aside. The third edition is one you've surely been waiting for, an additional story, Shadows of Rose. Today, let me introduce just a bit of this story.
Rose, the beloved daughter of the main protagonist Ethan, is now a grown-up main character in this new story mode. In this sequel to the main story of Village, you can experience Rose's struggles with the terrifying powers she was born with. To break free of the curse of her powers, she enters the consciousness of the Megamycete. There, she meets a girl who looks just like her. In this mysterious realm of consciousness, time and space is warped beyond recognition. Rose is guided by a being who calls himself Michael, who might be of assistance with removing her powers. Shadows of Rose is set completely in a third-person perspective. In the realm of consciousness, you won't only face creatures, but the world itself seems to be attacking you. Enjoy the horror of the world itself being your greatest enemy. How will Rose find freedom from her mysterious powers? The DLC for Resident Evil Village Winter's Expansion includes all 3 of these major additions. In addition, Resident Evil Village Gold Edition, a bundle of Winter's Expansion with the base game, will be released simultaneously. The release date is planned for October 28, 2022. Resident Evil RE-Verse will also begin service on the same date, October 28, 2022. We hope that you are looking forward to it.
How did you like that? Also, as already announced, we are working on making the main story of Village available on Mac so that even more people can enjoy Resident Evil. In addition, the main story of Village is planned to be playable on PlayStation VR 2. We are working hard on bringing you the ultimate immersive experience worthy of next-gen in Resident Evil Village. So look forward to future announcements. Up next, a game that was announced just a few days ago.
I've located Baby Eagle. Guess you, me, big the wrong spot to vacation, eh?
You will receive our most sacred body. It begins now.
If I could just forget what happened that night. The pain. Even for a second. This time, it can be different. It has to.
Hi everyone, I'm Yasuhiro Anpo, director of Resident Evil 4.
And I'm Yoshiaki Hirabayashi, producer of Resident Evil 4. This title is a reimagining of Resident Evil 4, based on the original 2005 release. Similar to other titles in the series, we are carefully preserving what makes the original title special, while updating it with modern flourishes for everyone to enjoy when it launches in 2023. Today, we'll reintroduce a bit of the game's story.
Resident Evil 4 is set 6 years after the events in Raccoon City, depicted in Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3. The main character of the game, Leon S. Kennedy, survived the Raccoon City incident and was assigned as an agent directly under the President of the United States. Leon is dispatched to a quiet village in Europe as part of a mission to rescue the kidnapped daughter of the President. You might notice Leon is much more mature and fearless due to his past experiences. The Ganado, the main enemies of this game, wait for him. The experience of being attacked by hordes of crazed Ganado is truly an iconic moment from Resident Evil. In order to truly bring out the concept of terror of people controlled by madness, the Ganado have been completely redesigned.
Let's take a closer look at the game itself.
The over-the-shoulder camera returns, of course. Leon arrives at a dense and dangerous forest. We want to nail the feeling of loneliness and fear of not knowing what lies ahead, even more so than the original. Of course, there will also be thrilling battles. People that played the recent Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 should find this familiar. Look forward to future announcements, where we'll have more information on the game.
Resident Evil 4 is being developed for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, Series S, and PC. The release date will be March 24th, 2023.
We are aiming to create a Resident Evil 4 that everyone can enjoy, so please look forward to it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. What did you think about the latest information on Resident Evil Village and Resident Evil 4? Both games are currently in development. For those that can't wait for the release, check out the following games.
Resident Evil 7, which brought the series back to its survival horror roots, and the reimagining of classic titles Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3. These three titles, built with RE Engine, return with current-gen features including support for 4K, high frame rate, and ray tracing, as well as 3D audio for an even more immersive experience. These titles are available for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and Series S beginning today. In addition, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One players can enjoy a free digital upgrade to current gen via the Digital Upgrade Program and Smart Delivery. For PC users, an update patch will be available on the same date. For newcomers and veterans of survival horror alike, we hope you enjoyed the immersion these new versions offer.
Welcome to the family. That's all for today's announcements. Thank you.
That wraps up today's show. We hope you're as excited as we are about some of our upcoming games. Thank you to everyone, new and old fans alike, for tuning in. We look forward to sharing more updates with you soon.
Capcom Summer Showcase right here on IGN Summer of Gaming. I'm Damon Hatfield, that's Casey DeFreitas, that's Mitchell Saltzman, and that's Ronnie Barrier. Now let's talk Capcom. Should probably begin right off the bat with Resident Evil 4. We got to see more of that remake. Looking very good, and we have a release date. Who is excited for this one? Mitchell, was it enough?
I mean, I'm excited for it. Am I any more excited for it after this?
Sure.
No, not really. But yeah, I mean, Resident Evil 4 still looks great. I think we got confirmation that they've redesigned like the main basic enemies that you fight, the Ganados. I really was hoping to see a little bit more. At the very least, I would have liked to have seen some gameplay from that opening section, that like unforgettable opening section of 4 where you're fighting through the village. But yeah, we get what we get.
Yeah, I guess it's still a next year game. It's still a ways off, but what they showed today was just a little bit more than what they showed a week ago at State of Play. Ronnie, what'd you think?
What I have written down in quotes here is terror of people afflicted by madness. So sounds like a fun time. It really does look like they're going more into the RE2 and 3 remake of this is a very dark and oppressive place, a lot less camp than we're used to. I do hope they bring some of that back in, but it looks like they are 100% going for we are here to scare the crap out of you.
I mean, one of the things that they do say during the presentation is that they are really looking at what makes these games special. So yeah, I still have confidence that when we see this game again, we'll see some more stuff that I think alleviates some of those concerns.
Yeah, other than that, not really too much that they showed us.
But there was a lot of other Resident Evil stuff that they showed today. We'll talk about that in just a bit. Let's right now talk about something new from Capcom. Exoprimal, announced earlier this year. We just got to see a lot more. Ronnie, how is Exoprimal looking to you?
I mean, the first time I heard the phrase dinosaur forecast, I was in. So I am very excited for Exoprimal. It's not direct like PvP, but it's a little more Overwatch than I was expecting in terms of like Overwatch 2 just switched to 5-on-5, and it's 2 teams competing like time-wise for an objective, it seems like. The 2 new suits looked really cool. I believe they are called the Barrage and the Vigilant, 2 new assault classes to blow things up or shoot them from very far away. Both are good ways to dispose of dinosaurs, I've heard. So I'm really looking forward to this. Mitchell, we were talking the other day, the dinosaurs coming over the shield kind of reminds us of Days Gone.
It's so crazy. It almost looks like there's fluid dynamics being applied to the dinosaurs. The way and I don't think you really get to see it all that much in these trailers, but the way they like bunch up against a wall and just kind of like, they're all climbing up each other trying to get over it. It's such a cool visual. And like the way the dinosaurs all just fall from the portals. It's such a...
Hey, they're dinosaur vortexes.
Sorry, dinosaur vortexes. But yeah, I think, for me, removed from the disappointment of this being a dinosaur game from Capcom that's not Dino Crisis, looking at it for what it is, I'm actually really excited for this game. I think it looks amazing.
It's outside of Capcom's wheelhouse, I think. Capcom today is known for Monster Hunter, Street Fighter, Resident Evil, not really like, team-based.
In the future, sci-fi,
or
guns.
Like this could be, I don't know if they've released or if they've announced, like, is it a paid-for game? Is it free-to-play?
Yeah.
At least, is it a live service game meant to compete with, your Fortnites and Apex Legends? All that's unclear to me.
I did immediately go to the website to try and sign up for the early access, and the website was not working for me, so I hope I'm still able to do that after this, because this looks really fun. I love the idea of the exosuits and the different classes and then the different suits in each of those classes to choose from. I really like objective-based co-op games, and the story is also really interesting as well. I think that they just revealed during this trailer that Leviathan, the AI, might like not be a good guy. He's like the AI was saying stuff like your species is susceptible to mass delusions. Like I don't think they're on our thing's on our side.
Yeah, well,
he's not wrong, but that's mean.
Yeah.
Well, this isn't the only game that Capcom showed that has giant monsters in it. Casey, you and Monster Hunter are basically synonymous with each other. There's so much to show, including a demo. We're talking about Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. A demo's coming June 14th.
Yeah.
Did what you see today get you excited? Even more excited than you already were?
I didn't know how that would be possible, honestly. I mean, I was already sold. It's Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. There was already so much that I was looking forward to, but I'm gonna jump way ahead. I love Nargacuga. I'm very excited to see Lucent Nargacuga again. Lucent Nargacuga was from Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, and then you also fought Lucent Nargacuga on the Forlorn Arena, which used to also be a tower map, and that is also coming back with Lucent Nargacuga. That is the free title update coming in August. I'm sorry, I jumped ahead. I'm just stoked. But also Gormagala. That's awesome. A bunch of people in the community have been talking about the possibility of this monster returning in Sunbreak. I know there's a lot of people wanting Gore to return for Monster Hunter World, so I'm very excited to see it in Rise and to see how the Frenzy virus works, because it does some crazy stuff and can wreck entire ecosystems. So I'm curious to see if Gormagala is involved in this story. It looks like it is. It's got some cutscenes. Who knows? We'll find out.
So is this mostly about bringing back legacy monsters from former Monster Hunter games?
Gosh, so every Monster Hunter kind of does that.
Okay.
So Generations and Generations Ultimate, what was the game that did that. It was completely focused on bringing back previous monsters, and previous monsters in different ways, like deviant monsters, but it did have its own new monsters as well. But this Rise and Sunbreak seems to be having a bunch of awesome new monsters and a bunch of flagship returning monsters. Like Espinas was actually the flagship for Monster Hunter Frontier, which is a game that didn't even come to the US, so I'm very excited to fight that monster because I have not fought it before. So I'm sure a lot of people are in that same boat as I am, because it was only available in Japan and Korea, I believe.
And then, can you comment on this jungle environment that's also returning?
Yeah, so Jungle is another map. I'm actually very surprised to see this, because in Iceborne we only got like one new map, and then we had another map which was a surprise unlocked at the very end of the game. But we're getting another returning map from the second generation of Monster Hunter Jungle. There's ruins, it's coastal. Another reason for people to be upset that Lagiacrus is not here. But I'm excited for more maps. I didn't expect it. I know that the developers have also mentioned that they need to create maps and choose maps to fit in with the balance of what currently existed in the base game, so that everything remains balanced, so the monsters and the hunters remain able to act the way they do in the base game. So I guess it fit those criteria. But the demo is going to be available tomorrow, and I'm very excited we get to fight Astalos and Malzeno as well, which is the flagship Elder Dragon. It's probably going to be just as difficult, if not more difficult, than Magnamala was in the Monster Hunter Rise demo, which I know Ronnie is still like not having a good time with it.
Demo tomorrow, full release on June 30th. Okay, we need to take a quick break, but stick around. When we return, which of us can do the best impression of the merchant from Resident Evil 4? Just kidding. Or am I? Stick around and find out. IGN Summer of Gaming. We'll be right back after this.
IGN Summer of Gaming 2022 is presented by The Callisto Protocol on PlayStation, coming December 2nd, 2022. Pre-order now. And by the US Army. You can choose from over 200 career paths that match your passion on GoArmy.com. What's your warrior?
World of entertainment. Tune in to new episodes every Friday at 9 p.m. on IGN 1.
What's up, everybody? I'm Stella Chung, and you're about to get your weekly fix. This is the show where we round up all the biggest gaming and entertainment headlines you won't want to miss. Tune into new episodes every Saturday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern and Pacific on IGN1.
IGN Playlist is all of your games in one place. You can build your library and discover new games. Create and follow playlists from friends. Access guides for what you're playing. And rate and rank the games you love to share with the world. Available free with your IGN account. It's for players, no matter where you play.
The only thing better than listening to IGN podcasts is watching them. Luckily, all your favorite weekly shows are here on IGN1. Whether you're chasing the latest Xbox releases with Unlocked, looking for your PlayStation fix with Beyond, tracking everything coming to Switch with Nintendo Voice Chat, or catching up on this week's gaming news with GameScoop, we've got you covered. Check it out. Tune in every weekday at 5 p.m. for the best gaming coverage right here on IGN1.
Mana is the debit card and financial solution made specifically for your lifestyle. It's tailored for people who enjoy gaming, entertainment, and earning rewards. Let's take a closer look at Mana.
Ready to game the system? Meet Mana. You slay. You achieve. You win. So should your bank account, because your power shouldn't stop when the game does. Mana is the best gaming rewards debit card where you can earn perks and points by paying and playing, and get rewarded with the things you actually want. And we make it easy to set up and start. Just sync your favorite games to your Mana account and start completing quests for next level rewards, like that skin you can't wait to show off, or your next gear upgrade. No gimmicks, no surprises, no kidding. So why pay any other way? Pay with Mana. Pay with power. Mana. Game the system.
Great job, Danto. Welcome back. We're doing a live breakdown of Capcom Showcase, part of IGN Summer of Gaming. Before we get into it, just a friendly reminder, IGN Summer of Gaming is taking place throughout June, and you can catch it wherever you find IGN. IGN.com, Twitch, YouTube, IGN1 on your smart TV, and now you can even watch us on our Steam page. So this show is pretty Resident Evil heavy, which is a surprise, seeing as they had so much to show at Sony's most recent State of Play, but it looks like they held enough back for this showcase. Resident Evil Village Story DLC. What's it called? The Shadow of Rose. Yeah, and this is all kind of a part of a big package for Resident Evil Village that's coming October 28th, just in time for the spookiest day of the year. What do we sort of expect out of this Shadow of Rose? It's in third person, for one thing.
Yeah.
That's a big departure for Resident Evil Village.
I mean, as someone who did not beat, as we talked about, did not beat Resident Evil Village, this was a nice surprise for me.
We're all on the same page now. Yeah, I guess we can say spoilers for the, but Capcom doesn't seem to care too much about spoilers.
Sorry.
Sorry, this is the hand we're dealt. Yeah, we're gonna be playing as Rose, daughter of Ethan, in this bit. So Ronnie, how about you? Maybe you did beat Village.
Yes, Rose looks good for having been dismembered a few times.
Oh God.
Sorry, again, spoilers. This looks to be much more story-based, like not really combat-focused at all. Rose is a bit tormented from the powers that, surprise, she also has as a baby in Village, and kind of trying to carry on the legacy of her father and maybe get rid of these weird mold issues. Village is a weird game.
She talks to the mold.
Yeah, she does talk to the mold. She goes inside the mold, she talks to the mold, it's just a whole mold thing. But it looks to be, yeah, pretty story-focused.
It presents some interesting gameplay opportunities because Rose has some powers, you know, and usually in Resident Evil, you've got some guns, maybe a knife.
A lot of big guns.
Yeah. But not like supernatural powers.
Right.
So, that could really greatly change the gameplay for Resident Evil Village.
Yeah, maybe more puzzle-focused. It looked like she was following some lines like drawn on the wall and things like that. It wasn't too clear. She does not like Chris Redfield. Maybe she loves boulders. Who knows?
One thing that I want to say is that, Resident Evil 7, I think, came out with a really impressive suite of DLCs that came out. There was like the Ethan Must Die mode. There's like this weird blackjack thing that you played with Lucas, where like you would get tortured if you lost a hand or something. So like I think, going off of what we saw them do with the Resident Evil 7 DLC, I think it's a really good sign that the Resident Evil 8 DLC is in good hands, and I think it's something to get pretty excited about.
Yeah, as we were saying, it's a whole package. It's the Shadow of Rose DLC. There's updates to Mercenaries, where they're adding Lady Dimitrescu in there, however that's pronounced. No one really knows for sure. So you can play it. You can actually play as her, and that's cool. And then also the entire game, Resident Evil Village, will now be playable in third person, which is cool. Yeah. I'm just feeling a little bit of whiplash with perspective in Resident Evil games these days.
Yeah.
They just keep going back and forth. I just want them to come back around to the fixed camera perspective, tank controls.
Oh, please no.
I literally just started playing Resident Evil Village yesterday. And so now I'm like, should I just wait?
Well, I mean...
But also it was 40% off last night, so maybe that's why.
Well, now you can play... Well, no, not that one. I was just going to say, there was already a next-gen version for that. But we also are getting next-gen versions of 2 and 3 Remake and 7 available today.
Yeah.
So really good excuse to revisit any of those. But Casey, I don't know. How are you feeling about the extra content that's been announced for Village?
Like I just said, it makes me think maybe I should just wait for the Gold Edition to come out. I prefer...
You prefer to play in third person?
I prefer to play in third person.
Okay, well, there you go.
Yeah, like my first Resident Evil was Resident Evil 4, which was in third person, over the shoulder at least. So I'm kind of more used to playing my horror games like that. And the Shadows of Rose DLC looks really cool. I feel like when you don't have the kind of action and weapons that we're so used to in Resident Evil, horror games become so much more spooky. So, on the other hand, I'm wondering if I'm even going to be able to do it, because it might be too spooky for me. We'll see.
Ronnie, do you prefer your Resident Evils in first or third person?
It used to be first person until I had to make that video that Mitchell talked about Ethan's hand trauma across the 2 different games. I think I'm good with third person now. Resident Evil 4 being my favorite, I think probably third.
Now that I think about it, though, that's going to completely change a lot of the events, or just the way that you experience them, because so much of it is your hands right in your face, seeing them brutalized, and now you're going to be back watching Ethan doing this.
Well, it's like the only body part in first person that you can see getting damage, and so I don't know how they're going to do that.
Yeah, maybe it'll take away some of the impact.
Maybe. It's pretty terrifying.
I think it could be too.
One thing I wanted to also bring up, the Mercenaries mode has these 3 new characters that they introduced, and it looks like they all have kind of like interesting moves that are unique to their character. Like Dimitrescu threw a furniture across at someone. Heisenberg was like throwing out one of his gadgets or something. I don't even know what Heisenberg does. I haven't gotten to that point.
He can throw gadgets, sure.
Yeah, let's just say that.
Yeah.
So I'm
Who's the third character?
Chris.
Oh, Chris.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see what they do with Mercenaries, and even going forward, if maybe we'll see Leon DLC in Mercenaries down the road, or if they can just keep on adding new characters to that to make that mode a little bit more robust. Because I think a lot of people were disappointed in Resident Evil 8's version of Mercenaries compared to previous iterations. So I'm excited to see them give that mode some love, because it is a really cool mode.
Yeah. Then there's Resident Evil 4. We were saying at the top of this post show that, it's always nice to see it, nice to get a reminder that it's coming, but they didn't show too much in addition to what we'd already seen for that.
We got a great new close-up angle of Leon. He's a very pretty man. So thankful for that, but not much else.
Oh, and what was the Duke thing? The Duke is in Shadow of Rose?
He looks to be like the antagonist in Shadows of Rose, or at least just messing with Rose or whatever, summoning some weird shadow mold creatures or whatever. But yeah, he was your buddy in Village, so I'm not sure what's up with that.
Casey might not have even met him yet.
I haven't.
Yeah, he's a very important character in Resident Evil Village, so that'll be interesting to see. A couple other little tidbits that Capcom updated us on is the Capcom Fighting Collection, which I believe is out this month, imminently.
The 24th, I think?
It's coming very soon.
Yeah.
Ronnie, you've spent some time with that one?
Yeah, I did a preview for it, just did some footage for it. It's got 10 games in there, including 5 Darkstalkers games. It's a lot of Darkstalkers.
Wow.
And all of their names and subtitles are flipped for the Japanese version, so that was always very confusing. But yeah, that's coming up pretty soon. Pocket Fighter, Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo. Oh, cool. Yeah, a lot of really cool stuff in there, all online, so looking forward to it.
All those Darkstalker games and not a single iteration of Street Fighter 3. I'm so upset.
Yeah, that was a bummer. I'm always looking for Third Strike, but hopefully further down the line.
Do you think it's a space issue? Just Third Strike would take up too much space and they couldn't put enough else in?
Maybe like, I don't know, everyone wants Third Strike.
I think they got plans for Third Strike.
Yeah.
I think they're saving it for something. Hey, maybe they'll bundle it with Marvel vs. Capcom and just call it the Capcom Fighting Collection that everyone wants.
Yeah, they had that 25th anniversary collection a while back that had Third Strike. And this has Super Turbo and things like that, but no Alpha, no Japanese versions of Zero, no Third Strike, so who knows, hopefully in the future.
And then they did mention Street Fighter 6, but nothing new, right?
Nope. I was hungry for it, but they didn't deliver.
After you've played it nonstop for the last
I told you, coming out of that event, like the one prevailing thought was, how am I gonna wait till 2023 to play this game again? I just don't know how I'm gonna do it.
Must have been nice.
I was saying earlier, I'm really interested in this single player mode. What's your guess? You think maybe later on this year they might want to show that off?
Yeah, I think they'll definitely jump back into that. Maybe even Evo, they'll do some sort of showcase on it, or Gamescom. There's still plenty of events.
Tokyo Game Show later this year too.
That's also a good one.
That's true. Okay, we need to take another quick break, but don't go anywhere. When we return, Mitchell will perform the Guile's theme on the harmonica, or we'll discuss Capcom's shows some more, whichever one. IGN Summer of Gaming, we'll be right back.
IGN Summer of Gaming 2022 is presented by the U.S. Army. You can choose from over 200 career paths that match your passion on GoArmy.com. What's your warrior? And sponsored by Metro by T-Mobile.
What's up, everybody? I'm Stella Chung, and you're about to get your weekly fix. This is the show where we round up all the biggest gaming and entertainment headlines you won't want to miss. Tune into new episodes every Saturday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern and Pacific on IGN1.
IGN is your go-to for the latest and best in games, movies, and television. And with over 50 million IGN subscribers, you're in good company. Thanks to your help, we've raised over $100,000 for charity. Brought you and creators the world over together for events like Gamescom and DC Fandom.
Brenton Thwaites here, I played Dick Grayson.
And made your voices heard. You voted almost 30 million times in our best video game of all time and Super Movie Madness tournaments, and posted over 40 million times on IGN's message boards. The chat must flow. Catch our unending stream of up-to-date news and so much more over at IGN.com, or subscribe to IGN on YouTube. And check out IGN Games and IGN Movies and TV for deep dives into your preferred pop culture. Plus, IGN guides to get help on veritably any game from our team of experts. No matter where you are, IGN.com, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, IGN has you covered.
I'm Akeem Lawanson, and this is What to Watch on IGN1. It's a weekly show where we check out the latest and greatest in trailers, reviews, and everything else in the world of entertainment. Tune in to new episodes every Friday at 9 p.m. on IGN1.
The only thing better than listening to IGN podcasts is watching them. Luckily, all your favorite weekly shows are here on IGN1. Whether you're chasing the latest Xbox releases with Unlocked, looking for your PlayStation fix with Beyond, tracking everything coming to Switch with Nintendo Voice Chat, or catching up on this week's gaming news with GameScoop, we've got you covered. Check it out. Tune in every weekday at 5 p.m. for the best gaming coverage right here on IGN1.
Return to Enoch in the brand new Outriders World Slayer. Either continue your Outriders save file or jump in fresh with the level 30 boost. Here's a sneak peek of what to expect.
And we're back. We are winding things down here, but before we leave you to your own devices, let's talk Best in Show. What was the highlight of Capcom's presentation? Casey?
I'm gonna say Monster Hunter.
I'm shocked. I, for one, am shocked.
That's hilarious.
Can't believe it.
The script even said Monster Hunter ? I'm sorry. But no, I was very excited to see more of those new monsters, and I can't wait to get my ass kicked by Malzeno in the demo tomorrow.
This is a family show, Casey.
How dare you?
Yeah.
I was told I could say that word, so I said it.
We were lying.
Sorry. I can't wait to get my butt kicked by by Malzeno tomorrow.
Mitchell, in an alternate timeline, in another multiverse, your Best in Show would be Dragon's Dogma 2.
Oh yeah, it was amazing, wasn't it? We're still in this alternate dimension where they show Dragon's Dogma 2?
That was the best reveal I've ever seen.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's a bummer that they didn't show it, but they did, give us a couple of dates. I think June 16th, June 17th, they were gonna, do some celebrations of Dragon's Dogma for the 10th anniversary. I'll tune in then and hold on to my reaction that I was planning on having here and just save it for then.
Put that in your back pocket.
Please be excited.
It's got to be something big if it's going to be
hopefully
its own thing. An announcement of announcement.
Yeah.
All right.
There's something coming.
Ronnie, what was your favorite thing? And you can't say spending quality time with us.
I wasn't going to say that.
What?
Probably more dinosaur forecasts. I'm really looking forward to Exoprimal. I'm glad there's going to be a test. Frame rate looked a little rough, but that's to be expected of a pre-release game with that much on screen. I hope it's going to be another fun just group game to play with people. I've been doing a lot of fighting games lately, a lot of competitive stuff, so something a little more cooperative might be cool.
Me and Ronnie just want to be on a team playing something
for once,
instead of just going against each other all the time.
Can I play with you?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, how many players have they even said?
I think they said 5 on 5, right?
5 on 5.
Damon, you can join too.
Yeah.
You just gotta bring another.
You've got one more spot.
We can put a couple teams together.
Chantel, you wanna join our team?
The crewing.
We'll be accepting auditions in the near future. So I'm kidding.
This is happening.
Yep. So we know Mitchell would love to have seen Dragon's Dogma 2. Casey, was there anything you didn't see that you wish you would have?
No. Like I also
completely satisfied.
I've been satisfied for a while. Like all of my favorite monsters were already in Monster Hunter Rise, so anything else after that has been a complete bonus. I'm just excited to play it now at this point. I'm excited that we're getting the demo. I also would have liked to see more Dragon's Dogma, even though I never finished the first one. I'm sorry, don't come after me for admitting that. But hey, now I just have more time to play more of the first one.
That's true. Now you have time to finish the first one.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. It's okay. They can leave me alone for not beating Resident Evil 8 and come after you for not beating Dragon's Dogma.
No, go after me instead.
Yours is much easier to beat.
Yeah.
I guess I have the greater shame there.
Yep.
Ronnie, there was no Mega Man anything.
No Mega Man. Juliana, my niece, will be very disappointed. Hi, baby. But I really wanted to see more of World Tour. There was an IGN Japan interview actually with the producers of Street Fighter 6, and they talked about World Tour. It really is a World Tour. It's not just Metro City. I was hoping to see maybe 1 or 2 more locations and a little bit more of what that mode actually is, because they've said it's very expansive. It's not just like shoryukening barrels, as much fun as that sounds.
Yeah, I got to talk to them too, and they did say that they wanted to make it a mode where it kind of onboards players onto the mechanics of Street Fighter. But yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that was pretty much it. I'm just hoping it's pretty fully formed. A big problem with Street Fighter V was just a complete dearth of like single player content when that game came out. I think there was like an arcade mode, but like no story. Maybe like 1 piece of artwork for every character's ending. But it's pretty much fight people online, and that was about it. And that can really kill a fighting game quickly, especially among the more casual audience. So look at something like Mortal Kombat 11. Yeah, great story, a lot of fun extras, crypt, things like that. I'm hoping for something of that nature for Street Fighter 6 for sure.
Mitch, I know you're a big Devil May Cry fan. Things are a little bit dormant over there since Devil May Cry 5.
Yeah, and it's especially if Itsuno is going to be working on, if Itsuno comes onto a Capcom stage and has something about Dragon's Dogma, you have to imagine his attention is on whatever they're doing for Dragon's Dogma. But I just love Devil May Cry so much. This is my footage we're watching. Look at it.
Wow.
Look at all those little dudes that I'm beating up.
Yeah, they talked about the Dragon's Dogma like transmedia stuff. Do you think it could be something like here's a movie, or do you really think there's going to be a Dragon's Dogma 2 announcement?
I don't know. I mean,
there's no way they would do a whole other presentation just for a movie.
I don't want to get my hopes up, Ronnie, but.
Well, just to remind everyone of some important dates, there's a demo for Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak out June 14th. That's tomorrow. And then the full game is out June 30th. Later on this year, we've got all the extra content for Resident Evil Village coming on October 28th. That's the Shadow of Rose DLC. This is the third-person mode and updates to Mercenaries. Dragon's Dogma, we're getting an announcement for that just this week on June 16th.
I think they also said there was something happening on the 17th, but I don't know if that was just time zones.
I think it might be
they're
different
just
time zones. Okay, then 16th.
Mitchell has his fingers crossed for Dragon's Dogma 2 reveal. All right, coming up, IGN has the exclusive gameplay of the upcoming multiplayer shooter game Exo Primal, so be sure to stick around after the break if you want to see some dinosaurs get blasted by futuristic exo fighters, and really, who doesn't? Thank you to my awesome co-hosts for joining us today. They're taking off, but you don't have to. Kick back, hang out. More Summer of Gaming is coming up next.
Yo, what's going on, everyone? Akeem here, giving you the rundown on Summer of Gaming. Now, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're talking to the developer of one of the biggest games coming out What in the world is going on? Anyways, we're going to be talking to the developer, one of the biggest games coming out this year. What is going on? What the hell?
IGN Summer of Gaming 2022 is sponsored by Metro by T-Mobile and by The Terminal List. Watch the action-filled psychological thriller starring Chris Pratt only on Prime Video July 1st.
IGN Playlist is all of your games in one place. You can build your library and discover new games. Create and follow playlists from friends. Access guides for what you're playing. And rate and rank the games you love to share with the world. Available free with your IGN account. It's for players, no matter where you play.
If you're not following IGN on social media, what are you waiting for? We're constantly updating our feeds to bring you the latest news, gameplay, custom original content, memes, the best user-generated videos and art, and a whole lot more. Be part of the conversation throughout the year. Follow IGN on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, and Snapchat. Tune into IGN 1 for the latest news on your favorite releases, gameplay exclusives, and all the entertainment you can handle. And maybe even some you can't.
Cinefix on IGN 1, your friendly Friday night home for film fanaticism.
You're watching The Weekly Fix, ready to fill you in on anything you may have missed in the world of gaming and entertainment.
Find it all in one place on IGN 1.
They turned into a network, who knew?
In a world with non-stop news about Marvel, Netflix, and Star Wars, you need a show with accurate reporting, hard-hitting commentary, and me. I'm Akeem Lawanson, the host of The Fix Entertainment. Whether it's the latest superhero scoop, film fiasco, or anime announcement, I'll be right here covering all the latest in major studio headlines and pop culture news. Make sure to catch The Fix Entertainment wherever you watch IGN.
Oof, that was a tough break for Akeem. Looks like I might need to find someone to sit in on the entertainment fix at some point. Catch it Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays on IGN.com. But right now, it's time to suit up in futuristic power armor for a live dinosaur combat test in Capcom's newest IP, Exoprimal. Fight for your continued existence against hordes of vicious dinosaurs and rival Exo Fighter squads when this team-based action game comes to PlayStation, Xbox, and Steam in 2023. Here's a brand new look at exclusive gameplay for Exoprimal.
I am the Advanced Artificial Intelligence Leviathan. Follow my guidance to maximize your growth opportunities in this research and development exercise. The first team to complete all of the assigned objectives wins. You will compete in 2 teams and provide me with the high-quality combat data I require. Let us begin. I will transfer you to the combat zone. Brace yourselves for interdimensional travel. Interdimensional transfer complete. The war game will begin shortly. Have a super day. You will now engage in a dinosaur combat test. Exo Fighters, follow the Watcher. Initiating dinosaur call mission. Preparing combat area. Please wait. Summoning raptors.
Get behind me!
Summoning raptors. Summoning raptors. Dinosaur call. You are completing objectives faster than the enemy team. Follow the Watcher. Proceed to next mission. Initiating dinosaur call mission. Preparing combat area. Please wait. Summoning gas neosaurs. They will explode when defeated, or if you get too close. Summoning raptors. Summoning sniper neosaurs. These enemies attack from long range using energy bullets. Exosuits with long range attacks should prioritize these targets. Summoning raptors. Summoning gas neosaurs. Summoning sniper neosaurs. Dinosaur call. You are completing objectives slower than the enemy team. Follow the Watcher.
Thank you. Disengaging.
Proceed to next mission. Use Roadblock's shield to stall charging dinosaurs.
Let's rock!
Initiating dinosaur call mission. Preparing combat area. Please wait. Summoning a Triceratops. It is dangerous to attack a Triceratops head-on.
Shield ready! Can't hold on much longer! Nice work! Take this! I made him angry! The shield ready! Can't hold on, shield broken!
Dinosaur call. You have acquired a wall. You can place barricades in the combat area. Initiating VTOL defense mission. Preparing combat area. Please wait. Summoning raptors.
Shield ready! One shield coming out!
Dinosaur call. You are completing objectives slower than the enemy team. Proceed to next mission. Follow the Watcher to your destination. Summoning a T-Rex. A T-Rex can be dangerous, even from a distance. Summoning raptors.
One shield coming up! Stay there! That shield was just fast! Shield down! Catch up! Appreciate it. Got your back. I owe you a salve. This is not good. Get behind me! Get back in the fight! I made him angry!
Dinosaur call. You are completing objectives slower than the enemy team. Proceed to next mission. Increasing hazard level to maximum. Carnage module online. Consider this superior dinosaur threat an opportunity for professional growth. Prepare for battle. Raptor Super Swarm incoming. If you are unable to prepare in time, your death may be authorized. Good luck.
You got it, pal.
Use Zephyr to quickly meet the enemy in melee combat.
Just try and stop! Get behind me!
Calculated. Your chances of survival are less than 10%. You must fight harder than ever if you wish to survive. Alert! Warning, you will now commence the final mission. Brace yourselves for interdimensional travel. Prepare for combat. The final mission will be data key security. Proximity to the data key will cause it to advance. Escort it to the objective. If the data key is destroyed, remain in proximity to repair it. Stay near the data key to escort it and complete the mission.
That feels good.
The enemy data key has progressed 20%. Escort progress 20%. A Dominator has been generated for your team. Use the Dominator to commandeer a dinosaur and attack the enemies. I have awarded the enemy team a Dominator. They may invade with a hostile dinosaur. Stay near the data to escort and complete the mission.
Dominator activated!
Data key is being attacked by dinosaurs. Your allies are on the offensive near the enemy team. The data key is being attacked by dinosaurs. The enemy data key has progressed 40%. Escort progress 40%. The data key is being attacked by dinosaurs. The enemy team is on the offensive. Fight back. The enemy data key has progressed 40%.
Heading to market.
Escort progress 40%. The data key is being attacked by dinosaurs. The enemy team is on the offensive. Fight back. The data key is badly damaged. The data key is being attacked by dinosaurs. The data key is being attacked by dinosaurs.
Shield ready. Let's pain or gain. Overdrive ready. Fire in the hole! One shield.
Escort progress 80%.
Shield broken. Fire in the hole!
The enemy data key has progressed 80%. A well-balanced combat. Victory is near. Demonstrate exemplary combat ability by defeating the enemy team.
Fire in the hole! Nice work. Grenade out! Onward!
The data key has reached the objective. Beginning preparations for aerial transfer of the data key.
Damage
quickly when friendly exofighters are near the data key. Continue escorting the data key. The enemy data key has been lost 90%. Consider directly attacking enemy exofighters. Data key will be initiated soon. Combat test complete. You have fulfilled your objectives ahead of the enemy team. You are victorious. Repeat, you are victorious. Please enjoy the right to continued existence and be sure to rest up. The next war game is just around the corner.
That was an extended look at Exoprimal right here on IGN's Summer of Gaming. If you like extended looks at things, tune in tomorrow for Xbox Game Showcase Extended, and we'll be extending that even further with another Unlocked live after show. That's happening tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, everywhere you watch IGN. Where's that? I hear you asking? Well, I'll tell you. Catch our Summer of Gaming coverage on IGN, YouTube, Twitch, IGN 1 on your smart TVs. You can even watch us on our Steam page. What a time to be alive. Thank you all so much for tuning in. For all the big summer gaming news, IGN has you covered. We'll see you next time.